Well, the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder met for the fourth time this season now already. There was one unexpected meeting that occurred during the Emirates Cup in-season NBA tournament. You know, that in-season NBA thing. They met in the semifinals, and the Spurs, of course, beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Spurs have owned the Oklahoma City Thunder, at least until tonight. The Spurs 3-0 in those aforementioned 3 games where they met, including the last one, which was something of a beatdown. But as Samuel L. Jackson said, as Jules in Pulp Fiction, the Oklahoma City Thunder struck back with great vengeance and furious anger tonight against the San Antonio Spurs in what was, a close game at halftime. And it was competitive throughout the early stages of the third quarter, but the Oklahoma City Thunder certainly did pull away towards the end of the third quarter, and they really just maintained that margin of differential throughout the entirety of the fourth quarter. Ultimately, this just went final, and it was a 21-point beating for the Oklahoma City Thunder to kind of restore balance and order in the Western Conference, at least momentarily. The Thunder had been slipping precipitously as of late, really the last 3 weeks now. A lot of shine has been lost. A lot of the aura of invincibility, I think, had been lost from the Oklahoma City Thunder after that 24-1 start. They've lost, 6 games over the last 3 weeks now since that dominant start. And I think a bunch of that really just a reaction to the fact that the San Antonio Spurs punched them in the face and snatched away a bit of that, again, aura of invincibility, that dominance that they had showed really for the first month and a half of the NBA season. They were looking nearly unbeatable, but, losing to a team, being beaten 3 times in roughly 11 days, which is exactly what the Spurs did to them, I think kind of took some of the momentum away from the Thunder. They lost their focus. It became apparent that they weren't going to break the all-time wins record from the 2015-16 Warriors, that 73-9 win team. They weren't going to get it. I think they realized it. They took their foot off because, let's be honest, they can sleepwalk their way to the 1 seed in the NBA in the West and in the East. They will have home court throughout the entirety of the NBA playoffs. So, hell, why really strain themselves? But tonight was personal, I think. Tonight they had to make a statement, and so they did. 119-98, an absolute beatdown. It was, this game was in Oklahoma City. Again, I think this was something of a must-win game for the Thunder. They had to make this statement. They couldn't lose 4 consecutive games against this team in the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs were game and competitive, as I said, in the first half, but ultimately the Thunder did pull away. And I think this outcome really was pretty predictable. And the NBA, at the end of the day, kind of is just a make or miss sport, a make or miss game. In this game, for instance, the San Antonio Spurs shoot just 40%, while the Oklahoma City Thunder end up shooting 52% from the field. And if you look at their last meeting that these guys played against each other, it was essentially reversed. The Spurs shot 53% in that game, and the Oklahoma City Thunder shot just 39%. A complete reversal tonight. Wembanyama, by and large, kind of ineffective, registered a -14 on the night. That was tied with Stephon Castle for the worst plus-minus in the starting lineup and the second worst on the entire team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a typical Shai Gilgeous-Alexander game, a very solid game. Didn't shoot that, not what he's used to shooting, I should say, from the field in terms of his efficiency. He was under 50% from the field tonight, but just ever so slightly, 11 of 23, 34 points from him, and a high for the starters on the Oklahoma City Thunder, plus 29. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, the one that comes off the bench, was a plus 30. That was a game high. But SGA, very solid, and, he did get the support from Jalen Williams, the starter Jalen Williams, All-NBA third-team Jalen Williams from a year ago. 20 points for him tonight. So a good game on 9 of 15 shooting. And the bench looked very strong and effective, in my estimation, tonight for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, Jalen Williams, as I mentioned, the bench Jalen Williams. It's very confusing. We have 2 Jalen Williams on this team, but he was a plus 30. Alex Caruso tonight, 13 points, 5 of 8 shooting. But again, Alex Caruso's impact on the game is typically felt more than just in his standard box score. He was plus 27 tonight. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, by and large, looked like the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. The Spurs dropped to 27-12 now in the season, while the Oklahoma City Thunder, I believe they're 27-13 now. And the Oklahoma City Thunder improved to 34-7. They are now 19-2 at home. 20-2. These numbers are behind. They're not updated or refreshed. We do have a number of other things going on around the NBA tonight. I was not really expecting this game to be very competitive. Nonetheless, I wanted to get on and do a live stream, and I preset it earlier this afternoon, just expecting to go on regardless of the outcome. I think I would have been surprised if the Spurs were highly competitive throughout, and I would have been shocked if the Spurs won this game tonight for a 4th consecutive time this season. But again, like I said, the Oklahoma City Thunder restoring balance and order to some degree. This game was largely over by the time it hit the 4th quarter on the strength of a 40-24 third quarter run. This was, I believe, a 3-point game at halftime with the Thunder leading by 3. So, like I said, competitive for half of it, but then a 40-24 burst in the third quarter. And the Spurs got peppered with a bunch of, haymakers and 3-point shots by the Thunder throughout that quarter. And they just kind of coasted to that ultimate victory there in the 4th, in getting the win and finally beating the San Antonio Spurs team. And maybe, who knows, just maybe finding their mojo again and getting their groove back. Who knows? I guess only time will tell. I do want to welcome in Gary. Moderator Gary is with us. Gary, shout out to you. Many thanks for being here as always. What's up?
Not much. Just finishing up this game and now about to watch LeBron James and see if he can choke again.
We do have the Lakers are going to be in action later on tonight. That will be the second game of a back-to-back. They were in action last night, of course, and they got humiliated in that game. They played the Sacramento Kings, and they basically trailed for the whole game. They were up ever so slightly in the first quarter. I think they were up 7 in the first quarter, and then the Kings basically were up all the way from there. They were up by as many as 20 points in the third quarter. That lead was bouncing back and forth like 15, 16, 17 throughout the third, and they coast to a double-digit win. The Lakers were massive favorites in that game, obviously at home against a subpar Sacramento Kings team. And speaking of Kings, the King, the alleged King, LeBron James, debuted his special patch last night. I did a video on this earlier. Gary, did you see this patch thing?
Yeah, that's embarrassing. I've never even heard of anything like that.
Yes, LeBron James and the NBA, I guess, if you want to, you believe what you're hearing about, the NBA was the one that decided to put this thing into action. I don't believe it for a second. I think LeBron and his team and his people reached out to the league offices to commish silver, and they put this ridiculous patch thing into execution. LeBron James, again, I did a video on it today. If you missed it, you can go back and check it out. LeBron James is wearing a special commemorative patch to celebrate his 23 years in action. He'll be changing the patch out on his jersey every game, and then they'll be taking the patch off and putting it in a special collector card thing that they're going to sell and auction off later on, I guess, presumptively after the season ends. So, yeah, he'll be doing that. And last night was the first night that he donned this special patch. And wouldn't you know it, the Lakers got their asses kicked in by the bum-ass Sacramento Kings, the Kings who entered last night's game with the second worst record in the Western Conference and the second worst net differential in the entire NBA. Just ridiculous how mediocre and subpar they've been. And again, they work the Lakers by double dig with LeBron in his new patch. And there is no rest for the weary because, as we just mentioned, LeBron James and the Lakers will be in action later tonight. Actually, they're probably getting underway right about now. I think they were set to tip. They are underway. It is 6-6. 10 minutes left in the first, so they're just into this, 2 minutes into the game. So we can keep an eye on that while we unpack some of the other things that are going on in the NBA tonight and just other trending news things or topics, whatever you guys want to talk about in the NBA that's going on right now. Welcome into all of you guys. If you haven't figured it out at this point, this is a live stream. So it is a SKAP After Dark session. Welcome in, guys. The waters, as always, are warm here. As you just heard, moderator Gary, formerly known as Gaslit or Gaslighter Gary, is again with us. So shout out to him and shout out to all of you. Looks like we already do have a couple super chats here. I will get to some of these. Maybe we just hit these real quick. Giuseppe, what is up, brother? One of my biggest fans, and I'm so thankful to have you with all the videos, and you're obviously on all of the live streams. So major shout out to you, Giuseppe. What is up, brother? Gary, what does Giuseppe have? Actually, there's two, so go ahead and we'll read these back to back.
We almost got Choklahoma City Fumbler for a second.
Yeah, the Thunder, they were in a dogfight for that first half, like I said, but the Spurs ultimately did get it done. Or I'm sorry, the Thunder ultimately did get it done. And the Spurs, I think, look, no shame in tonight's loss. These things they were on the road. They had gone 3-0 against Oklahoma City to this point. I think this was just a matter of the Thunder needed this game much more than the San Antonio Spurs. They wanted the game much more. They were far more desperate. They played like it tonight, and they get the win. And the Spurs, they just didn't really have it tonight. They weren't shooting well. It looked like they kind of had figured out this Thunder defense to some degree over the last 3 games where they won all 3. I believe they shot over 50% in 2 of those 3 games. And again, they were just flirting just over the 40% range from the field tonight. So look, they didn't shoot well. The Thunder played a good game. The bench played well for the Thunder. The supporting cast was there. Shea had a good game. So, all things being equal, I think the Spurs, there's really no reason for them to hang their head. I think, look, ultimately, if these teams do match up in the playoffs and go ahead and forecasting it out, look, I don't know that they will or not, but the Spurs are the 2 seed right now, and the Thunder are the 1. So if that matchup does ultimately occur, it won't take place until the Western Conference Finals. And I think the Spurs still would have the utmost confidence going into that series if that ultimate matchup does take place. Tonight's game really does nothing to change my mind, at least nothing that I've seen to this point. Gary, I believe you, though, highlighted when we were talking about this last time, they do play one more time. You said the Spurs
February 4th, Wednesday, February 4th on ESPN in San Antonio.
So in San Antonio, February 4th, like whatever, a day or 2 before the Super Bowl. So just about 3.5 weeks out. So we're going to get to see it yet again for a surprise 5th time. Like I said, because that it was supposed to be 4 times, but they played in the Emirates in-season NBA tournament semifinal. So we got a bonus game out of this matchup, and it is a tasty matchup indeed. So I guess for one, at least in this specific instance, we should be thankful to Commish Adam Silver for delivering us a surprise 5th matchup between these 2 teams, at least in the regular season. Again, who knows what is in store in the NBA playoffs. But Giuseppe, thank you very much. Let's see what this second one from Giuseppe says.
Thoughts on the Nuggets winning?
Sure, we can talk about that because the Nuggets were in action tonight. Thanks, Giuseppe. We'll do a little segue into that. I suppose we can get into that right now. The Nuggets were in action again tonight. They do get the win again tonight, 122-116. They win over the New Orleans Pelicans. And look, there's been this little commentary going on, and I've been doing videos back and forth on it, talking about the Nuggets when they win, when they lose, without Nikola Jokic. For those of you who have been living under a rock, I'm sure you wouldn't be on this live stream joining me right now if you don't know the NBA to some degree, if you're not following along. And if you don't know, if you are new for whatever reason and you're just joining me on this live stream right now, you know that I do a lot of stuff on Nikola Jokic, that I follow him quite a bit, that I have been in recent years underwhelmed with his supporting cast So I've been keeping a close eye on these games now without Nikola Jokic, who has hyperextended his knee. There is no structural damage, but he's been out. He actually got hurt, I believe, on December 30th, I want to say. So it's been now 2 full weeks since that hyperextension. He's supposed to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. I'm hearing things from people close to the team, so sources near to the situation, that maybe Nikola Jokic is pushing towards a quicker return. He was supposed to be reevaluated at the 4-week mark. Then typically what happens, because I've been watching these things play out for like 30 years because I'm old as dirt, generally at that reevaluation point, they miss another week or 2 or 3 or whatever. We saw it play out with Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon earlier this season, where they were like 4 to 6 week reevaluation periods, and both of them missed more than that 6-week span of time. I think they both missed around 7 or 8 weeks. So, that's what I was anticipating for Nikola Jokic. Word has it he's jogging already. He's shooting around already. So maybe, just maybe, he's going to be back sooner than later. But the Nuggets have been playing decent without him. Decent. They have been winning games. They've been treading water. They've been staying afloat. And because of that, many people have been taking to the social media interwebs to make this some kind of a grandstanding commentary on the kind of supporting cast that Nikola Jokic has had. 2 things on that premise, or that theory, or that narrative. 2 things. 1, it's clear that this is the best team Nikola Jokic has ever had in his entire career with the Denver Nuggets. Many people had speculated on that, prognosticated preseason that was indeed the case. So the fact that the Nuggets are better or more competent this season without Nikola Jokic shouldn't come as much of a surprise to anybody. But secondarily, do you see the teams that the Denver Nuggets have been playing since Nikola Jokic got hurt? Thank God they do have this soft-ass schedule since Jokic got hurt. Thank God, because they are barely winning these games without him, despite the fact they're playing a very, very soft schedule. I think they have the 4th easiest schedule in the NBA in the month of February. Their schedule gets much more difficult in March. But the schedule in January, where we're in right now. The schedule gets more difficult in February and March moving forward. But the January schedule is like the 4th easiest in the entire NBA. Take tonight's game, for example, as your main. Let me just present this as Exhibit A. I see some hilarious comments in this in the live comment feed here, like, no Jokic, no problem. Yeah, no problem. They barely beat the Pelicans, 122-116, barely. The 9-33 Pelicans coming into tonight's game, 9-33, 6-18 at home, barely beat them. And they beat them 122-116 on the strength of a 33-24 fourth quarter. Now, I'm not very good at math, guys. Definitely not simple or quick math. But 122 from 16 is less than 9, and 33 from 24 is 9, which means the Nuggets were losing this game going into the third quarter again against the 9-33 Pelicans. So for all of you knuckleheads out there in internet land and on my comments right now, talking your ridiculousness about, oh, no Jokic, no problem. No problem. Beating a 9-33 team by 6 points. That's no problem. Got it. Copy that. Let's go ahead and check out, though, the last games that they have played without Nikola Jokic. Again, I said that he got hurt. He got hurt exactly it was December 29th was the game that he got hurt. And then since that, they lost that game. They were tied in that game against the Miami Heat, 63-63 at halftime when he got hurt. They ended up losing by 24 in that game, 147-23. So they get obliterated in that second half without Jokic. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games without Jokic. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they are now 5-4, but these are the games that they've played. That Miami game, like I said, the Miami Heat. They played the Toronto Raptors. Okay. They're upper echelon. They're like the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. They played the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. They're like 500 right now-ish. Like 3 or 4 games over 500. They played the Brooklyn Nets. Terrible, by the way. The Nets stink. They got blown out by the Nets, 127-115. They played the Sixers. All right, yeah, they're like fourth or fifth seed line right now in the Eastern Conference. Great win there. They beat them by 1 in overtime. They played the Celtics. This is probably the best win of the year without Jokic by far. Probably the best they play without Jokic in years. A 4-point win over the Celtics. They then went home and got blitzed by the Atlanta Hawks, worked by 23 points. They then beat the Milwaukee Bucks by 4 and the New Orleans Hornets by 6. So again, they're not playing world beaters, and they're barely winning these games by like 1 point, 4 points, 6 points. And yet people with the idiocy of this commentary, no Jokic, no problem. Well, let's take a look at those Milwaukee Bucks. Everyone was raving about that win last game, how they beat the Milwaukee Bucks without Nikola Jokic. The Milwaukee Bucks, those same Bucks, were in action tonight with Giannis Antetokounmpo and virtually everybody else. They had a full roster, and they were playing the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who have Rudy Gobert on suspension and decided to sit Anthony Edwards. They just rested Edwards tonight. So no Edwards, no Gobert. The Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Milwaukee Bucks tonight 139-106. So this is what a real team, guys, looks like. A real supporting cast looks like. I did a video the other day. Actually, I did 2 on Anthony Edwards and how he's overrated. And I got a lot of pushback in those comments of both videos, really. I got a lot of pushback in the first video, which prompted me to make a second video to clarify some of what I was talking about. And much of the commentary that I received in there is like basically to the tune of, Ant-Man doesn't have as much help as many of these other players do, which is why he hasn't won like some of these other players. Okay, but a 4-point win for the Denver Nuggets against the Milwaukee Bucks without Jokic means Jokic has some kind of super team. So what the hell does a 33-point win over that same Milwaukee Bucks team tonight with no Ant-Man say about his Denver Nuggets? They had 80 on the board.
And no Gobert.
What, say it again?
And no Gobert.
Exactly. And no Gobert. They had 80 points on the board at half. And
Giannis should have scored like 70 points tonight with no center.
Exactly. So I have to chuckle at this because the Nuggets are playing like teams that are 500, maybe a little bit over 500, or terrible teams like tonight. And like the Brooklyn Nets, they lost by double digits to the Brooklyn Nets. They win by 6 points tonight against one of the worst teams in the NBA, the 9-33 New Orleans Pelicans. So look, I'm thankful that the schedule has broke this way. And it honestly, initially when the Jokic injury happened, it was a real bummer because the Thunder were kind of spiraling, and the Nuggets looked like they were finally getting healthy because Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown were allegedly just days away from return, which they did come back like the day after Jokic got hurt. So I thought, looking at the schedule in January, Jokic was really going to distance himself in the MVP talk. He was really going to take a stranglehold on that 4th league MVP with the cakewalk schedule that he had with his team coming back in January, and then he got hurt. And I was bummed because none of that was going to happen. But it's been kind of a blessing in disguise that he did get hurt. If he was going to get hurt, that it happened now with how pathetic this schedule is for basically this entire month. But still, they're barely winning these games against fairly mediocre to below average teams in the NBA. So with no Jokic, no problem narrative, it's just ludicrous to me. It's just laughable and ridiculous. But hey, let people say what they will. Tonight, again, they do win, and they get really the story to me. Look, Jamal Murray was very good tonight. Great, he was great tonight. He had 30. I believe he had 35. Let me get to the box score here. I believe he had 35 points. He did 35 points, 11 and 19. Jamal Murray, I've been a outspoken critic of Jamal Murray for several years. He's having the best season of his career by far, at least in the regular season. I fully endorse, support, and will go on a campaign to get this guy to be an all-star. He absolutely deserves it and should be. I think he's playing all NBA caliber this year. So what I'm about to say is not meant to diminish or take away from Jamal Murray. The story of the Denver Nuggets to this point, this year, and definitely since this Nikola Jokic injury, is Peyton Watson. This guy is emerging. Now, the NBA gave him a player of the week, which is laughable. They did that only basically to try to create this narrative of all the help that Nikola Jokic has and to diminish Nikola Jokic. There is no way in hell Peyton Watson should be player of the week in the Western Conference. But Peyton Watson has been an absolute star since Nikola Jokic got hurt. Tonight, again, another big game for him. 31 points on 11 of 16, and the best plus-minus on the court for the Denver Nuggets, plus 15. And going into tonight, he was averaging 25 points per game since Nikola Jokic went down. So not 8 games, full games since Jokic went down. Peyton Watson came into tonight averaging 25. That'll go up a tick tonight now after 31 points. And this is an all-time blunder by the Denver Nuggets. So even when something great happens for the Nuggets, I can't celebrate it because the front office, as good as they did this summer in filling out that bench and getting rid of Michael Porter Jr., and I know MPJ has had a great year this year, but turning his salary into Tim Hardaway Jr., who's been a godsend for them, Cam Johnson, who was playing great defense before he went down, and then it allowed them to bring in Bruce Brown. They, again, flip Saric into Jonas Valanciunas. Masterful job by the Denver Nuggets front office this summer, but they had an opportunity to extend Peyton Watson on the cheap this summer. They didn't take it. He's now on a 1-year expiring deal this season at only $4 million a year, and this guy is a freaking superstar. The kind of guy I've been begging for the Denver Nuggets to get around Nikola Jokic for, I don't know, like 5 years. A long-rangey, good defender who can shoot and slash to the basket and create some stuff on his own. He is exactly what they need, the prototype, and now they likely won't be able to resign him this summer. I don't know what they have to do. If you got to go into the second apron, they got to do it. If they got to cut people, cut them. If you got to trade someone, trade them. Christian Brown, his contract is looking like an albatross right now. Brown, who had a breakout season, he averaged 15 points per game as a starting shooting guard last season. He deserved the money this summer. They extended him to 5 years, $125 million. But if that contract is the reason that they cannot retain Peyton Watson, it's a massive mistake. And I don't know if they have to trade him now or do something. Doesn't look like his value is very high right now because he has torn ligaments in his ankle. He's trying to make his way back, and he looks terrible, right in the nick of time for Peyton Watson to be looking amazing. Brown, of course, didn't even play tonight because he wasn't, quote, he wasn't feeling right. So he's looked terrible since he came back after like a 7 or 8 week hiatus with that ankle injury. And now he's still obviously not back up to form. And Peyton Watson has just been an absolute stud. He looks basically like he's the 4th best player on that team when they're all back and healthy. You can make a case he's even the 3rd best player on that team when they're all back and healthy. So whatever it takes, however deep they have to go into the apron, whatever punitive ramifications they have to accept for throwing the bank at Peyton Watson or whoever they have to trade or get rid of off of the books in order to make it happen, Peyton Watson definitively has to be a Denver Nugget moving on after this season. So that's my big takeaway on that. Tonight, if we're talking just about tonight's game, Aaron Gordon started again for the 2nd straight game coming back from his injury. So he had 16 points. But, Jalen Pickett started. He had 16 points. But again, leading the way, Jamal Murray, 35 points, Jamal Star, and Peyton Watson, this breakout superstar. Off of the bench, again, I mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr., who is and has been and continues to be a godsend for the Denver Nuggets this year off the bench. 18 points again for him tonight. So the Denver Nuggets are just finding a way to do it. They're scrapping wins together against not great opponents, but that's okay. Just tread water, stay alive, wait for the big fella to get back, and hopefully go run down that number 2 seed and avoid the Oklahoma City Thunder until it will be, hopefully, the Western Conference Finals. But great question, Giuseppe. I did want to get into that. So thank you for leading the way. Now we've got model body fit in. Dylan, what's up, brother? Welcome to the party. My Floridian brother, I believe he's out in Miami, and Gary and I are both in Florida as well. Gary, what does model body fit have for us tonight?
I know a place LeBum should stick that patch. I know what he's referring to. He's referring to your blazer. Your blazer.
You think I should get should I get a Le patch for my blazer?
Yes. Yes.
Guys, what do you think? What do you think? Let me see the comments there on the live stream. Let me see, guys, or the live comment feed or whatever. Let me see. Should I try to get one of these commemorative LeBron James patches for a jacket that I could take on and off? I could wear a different blazer every live stream, and I could take my patch on and off and put it on my blazer, like LeBron is taking his patches on and off of his jersey in between each game. Maybe that's something that I can do. I'll say this about that patch, and thank you again, Model Body Fit. Shout out to you and that flex pick. I like it. Let me say this also about that patch. Listening to LeBron talk about the patch after the game, I'll tell you this. I was getting some vibes, Gary, and guys out there watching here on SKAP Live After Dark. Welcome into all of you. I was getting some vibes that LeBron might be feeling himself some retirement at the end of this season. I don't know what it was, but I listened to the full presser of him, and he was talking quite and mighty wistfully after the game. He said, it's just my way to bring to leave something behind, for the people that have been around here, my biggest fans, the whole ride and through the whole journey with me, and kind of bring them in on this next part of it. And, this kind of just makes me think of my whole journey to get to this point, everything that came before it. He sounded kind of, to me, like he's thinking about retirement. And I don't think it's because he wants to retire. I think it's because nobody, quite frankly, wants him. Nobody that he would want to play for. I don't think the Lakers want him back. They're terrible with him on the floor. Terrible this year. It's ridiculous how bad he makes them. I'm working on a video that really digs into just how bad he has made the Lakers when he's been on the floor this year. They don't want that back next year. So LeBron's now, I think, looking at the vast expanse of the NBA at this point and saying to himself, where can I go that expands my legacy to some degree? Where can I go that will help me build upon my GOAT case? And the fact that he's not seeing anything that's lining up makes me believe that he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he's just going to have to retire at the end of this year. Go ahead, Gary.
The only thing he could do, the only move he should make right now is see if there's a way he could finagle a trade back to Cleveland, because Cleveland really is struggling right now. They may, if he went to Cleveland, I don't know if there's a way they could give up draft. If they gave up like several of their good players, then it would just kind of like cancel each other out and not really benefit either side. But if he was just straight up somehow went to the Cavs with that roster they have, they'd probably win the East.
It's really not out of the question. I mean, they were, to me, the best team in the East last year going into the playoffs. They had the best record, the best differential. They caught some injuries, some ill-timed injuries, and they caught a very hot Pacers team around those when they were dealing with those injuries. So right. It's certainly not out of the question that they could get things together.
This year, they don't look nearly as good.
Say it again.
Yeah, this year they don't look. Remember how good the record was halfway through the season last year.
Yeah. So
they have slipped.
They may win. They could win the East with LeBron. I don't think they would win against anybody that came out of the West. But if you're in the series, though, anything could happen, right? Like if you get in, like who knows? But the problem is, though, it's so hard to make that salary match up. You'd have to engage like 3 or 4 different teams. Look, it's hard to trade a 41-year-old dude that makes $56 million this year. Like it's hard to make those salaries match up.
He shot himself in the foot again because if not for his because here's the deal. We won't go off on this because you know how we get. The only reason Durant joined the Warriors was to cancel out what LeBron did, not only joining the first super team with Miami, then joining the Cavs and forming a second super team. And then the refs, the Warriors naturally had a better team than LeBron's super team, but the refs helped. The Cavs got that crazy comeback, won the championship, and the only move for anybody to stop LeBron and the refs was for Durant to join Golden State. Someone said, well, why didn't Durant join any other team except Golden State? Because no other team would have stopped LeBron and the refs. The Warriors with KD were the only team that could stop LeBron and the refs. And they did that. Durant never would have done that had LeBron not started that trend. So my point is LeBron shot himself in the foot by doing the whole super team thing. And now he shot himself in the foot this last offseason by opting in and collecting this $52 million contract that makes him untradeable. There's nothing anybody can do, and now he's got to ride this season out. You know they're going to be a first-round exit again. Where does he go from there?
I think ultimately LeBron should have foreseen this coming. He should have just opted out this summer and gone and left himself. Not even signed a smaller, more manageable or tradable contract for just left on his own accord and picked where he wanted to be. And he could have signed a team-friendly deal there with that team. I think he underestimated his own importance and the control that he still can inflict upon, for lack of a better term, this organization. And maybe potentially the fact that maybe he just underestimated how poorly he would fit in with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves for an entire season. I'm going to do a video. I'm working on a video on this right now, but I'll just talk about it real quick because the Lakers are in action tonight right now. They're actually up 38-35 early on into the second. Luka with 9 points, LeBron with 6, and Gabe Vincent off the bench with 10 points, actually leading the way. The LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves trio, when all three of those guys have been on the court this season for the whole season, have a net rating of minus 7.4. Let me just explain what that means. So net rating, you take how many points per 100 possessions you outscore your opponent, and then you average it out for the entire season per 100 possessions. You can do it on offense, defense, whatever. The total net for the Lakers with those three guys on the court for every second is minus 7.5. That's terrible, Gary. That is essentially in line with the Indiana Pacers, who are minus 7.5. So the Lakers minus 7.4 with that trio. The Pacers minus 7.5. The Pacers are right now pacing to win 19 games. So the Lakers are basically a 20-win team with the trio of Luka, LeBron, and Reeves on the court all at the same time. Now, let's look at just two of those guys, though, two of the three guys. Luka and LeBron per 100 possession net rating minus 2.5. Just LeBron and AR, so just LeBron and Austin Reeves, minus 2.1. So right around minus 2 when it's LeBron with either one of the two. That net rating is right along the lines of the Portland Trail Blazers, who are, I think they're roughly pacing for around 39 wins. So that'll be 4 or 5 games below 500 with LeBron and either of the other two. When you remove LeBron from the equation altogether and you have just Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves for this whole year, their net rating is a plus 14.2. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder right now lead the NBA at a plus 12.6 net rating. It's the best net rating in NBA history. The Lakers, again, with no LeBron at all and just Luka and AR on the court, are plus 14.2. Now, I'm not suggesting by any stretch of the imagination that if you just dropped LeBron off of this roster, they would automatically win 70 games. But I am saying that LeBron undeniably makes the Lakers much worse. So there's just no way I don't think that they can win a first round with how deep and how loaded the Western Conference is, and the fact that the Lakers are likely going to be at best the 4 or 5 seed, at worst probably the 7 or 8 seed. So they're going to have to play I don't know, like the Nuggets or the Spurs in the first round. Best case and worst case, play the Thunder in the first round. Like the Lakers they're just cruising right towards where they always are with LeBron James in his Lakers tenure, which is a first round exit. Basically, look, they won the NBA championship in the bubble that one year. They went to the West Finals, I think, in 2023. Other than those 2 seasons, they've either missed the playoffs altogether or lost in the first round with LeBron James. So just to me, an underwhelming and bordering on just an outright failure of a tenure for LeBron James with the LA Lakers. And I think it's definitely going to limp to a finish line at the end of this year. Checking in, we'll keep an eye on that game. It is now a 1-point game, 40-39.
I'm watching.
The Lakers are clinging now to a 1-point lead. It was a 37-30 at the end of the first, and now the Nuggets have gone on a little 9-3 spurt to open that. So keep you posted on that game as we go. But shout out, obviously, to Model Body Fit. Thank you very much. Let me get back into these super chats real quick. We've got, oh boy. Gary, can you help me out with this? I believe this has to be like overseas, right?
To Sharbashat. But here's the thing. A lot of people's user handles don't always make sense, and it's okay. So
well, let me just thank you to Shar. We're probably slaughtering this handle. I have not seen you in here before. So welcome to the party. And thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate you supporting the live stream here and supporting the channel. Thank you very much. And shout out to you, Gary. Hopefully we didn't crush that too badly. But to Shar, let's see. What's the question or comment?
Very interesting question here. You have previously said to you, peak Kobe Bryant is better than second three-peat Michael Jordan. Where do you think peak Joker stacks next to second three-peat Jordan?
Yeah, see, this is why like eye tests, I think, get people in trouble. And I see, I've seen some criticism of me as of late because I'm in my comment sections quite a bit. I think quite frankly, am in my comments more, and I'm not like a massive channel, but I'm 90,000 subscribers now. Like that's not huge. It's not like I have a million, but you know, the fact that I think I'm in my comments more than people that have like, you know, 10,000 subscribers. Like I have 90,000 subscribers and I'm in my comments a lot. I'm looking at what people say, my subscribers or people that follow me or people that comment. Like I really do care what they're saying because here's the bottom line. Like I really respect people that come on and watch my videos. Not respect, I'm thankful. Like I'm very thankful to them for taking the time out to watch my videos and care what I have to say at all. But not only that, like take the time out of their day to write some kind of a comment. It means a lot to me. So I try to get in and read, and you know, I get beat up sometimes in the comments too, which is why I made a second Anthony Edwards video the other day to kind of respond to some of the comments that I was seeing and to clarify some of the stuff that I was saying. But some of the criticism I've seen of myself in recent videos is the fact that I use so many advanced numbers and I use things that try to like mitigate like era specific advantages. I go like per 100 a lot, net rating, like BPMs, but like era specific compared to what kind of peers that the peer class that they're playing against. Anyway, my point is a lot of people are like, SKAP, what eye test? Like you're not talking eye test. But the problem with eye test is everybody doesn't see the same stuff. Like I started watching, the first year I watched the NBA was like 1994, 95. So like Michael Jordan wasn't even in the league. I saw none of the first three-peat of Michael Jordan. Like I didn't see any of 80s Michael Jordan. And there's people today that are really dialed into the NBA right now that didn't see Jordan play at all. You know, and there's obviously not a lot of people have seen anybody play from the 60s that's talking basketball on either the mainstream outlets or even social media, like guys or people, men, women, whoever, that were actively like adults or alive or can remember seeing like Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell play. So I try to find a way to mitigate the eye test. But I have said in the past that Kobe Bryant is the best player I've ever seen personally, because again, I didn't see Michael Jordan play in the 80s where he was an absolute machine. Nor did I see him play in the first three-peat. I know those things existed, though. I know that he existed, and I have the ability to go back and look and study and evaluate what he did, and therefore Michael Jordan to me is the GOAT. But based on what I have seen personally with my own two eyes, Pete Kobe Bryant is better than the second three-peat Michael Jordan to me. Like, he just is. So to me, Kobe Bryant is the best player I've ever seen. And look, Nikola Jokic, it's hard to conceptualize exactly what he's doing, to Tushbar's point here. When I look at all of the numbers, the impact that he has on the game, the impact that he has on winning basketball, the guy is the most valuable player to me ever. Like, I think that the value that he adds to his team in winning games is actually higher than even Michael Jordan. I honestly do believe that. Just looking at the raw numbers. But it is impossible for me to say that Nikola Jokic is better than Michael Jordan or even better than Kobe Bryant, because as impactful as he is and as much as he does to add points and add value to his team and to win games throughout the regular season, I think this season is his best team ever. But in the past couple years, I think that he's been surrounded by like 25 win teams. And for him to take like 20, 25 win teams and win 55 games in the NBA, it's just ridiculous. And then for him to face significantly better teams in the postseason and take them 7, like Nikola Jokic basically wins a series or loses in 7, like for his entire career in his prime. Like, basically go back and look at Nikola Jokic once he hit prime, when he started winning MVPs. Like, he basically loses in 7 or wins the series. Like, he can take any collection of any team and push them to the brink, no matter how big the disadvantage. Just look at him in the Olympics this past time, where his Serbian squad outplayed the U.S. Dream Team for 97% of that game, with like 2 other NBA role players and Nikola Jokic going against this super team U.S. squad. Like, Serbia should have won that game. That's the immense and absurd and incalculable value of Nikola Jokic. But at the same time, the dude does only have 1 championship. So like, he's going to be 31 years old here shortly. I think he turns 31 in a month. Like, I'm not insane. Like, I can't say that a guy, no matter how good his advanced numbers look and how good like the value looks, that I can make a case for, and the BPM and the PER and all that stuff, the win share per 48, all off the charts, the best all time in NBA history. And he holds that value into the playoffs. But I can't say that a dude with 1 championship, no matter how much of a disadvantage I think he's been at with his roster and with just unlucky things like Jamal Murray missing 2 full playoff runs in his prime, like all of that stuff factored in, I can't put him above Kobe or Jordan at this point. And there's other guys' peaks probably. I would say Larry Bird's peak, probably even Hakeem's peak right now I have above Jokic, because Hakeem won 2 back-to-back championships with close to nothing. I know he got Clyde Drexler at the trade deadline in 95, but like close to nothing. He won back-to-back championships. So until I see like another 1 championship or 2, like I cannot put Nikola Jokic up into that like top 4 or 5 line. Overall, for the totality of his career, even if he doesn't win another title, I think he will be a fringe top 10 player in my estimation. Like, if he doesn't win another MVP or another title, I think you can still probably make the case. If he plays at this obscene level for another 4 or 5 years, I think I can make and will make the case that he's top 10. If he gets another MVP and another ring or 2, then we can start talking top 4 or 5. But I will give you this, Tushbar. He is the best peak I've seen and the best player overall that I've seen since Kobe. So like, I'd say like it's like Jordan, it's Kobe, and then like I have Nikola Jokic next. Like, those are probably like the 3 best players I've ever seen in my life. And I'd say KD was in that mix too. Like, Gary, to just shout that out real fast, I did have KD in there. Like, KD and Kobe were basically that level to me. And then Kobe kind of just, I just think is above KD. And now I think Jokic has surpassed KD as well. Go ahead, Gary.
Are you forgetting someone? You didn't mention Tim Duncan in that conversation because of his defense. See, that's why we keep throwing monkey wrenches. Yeah. Because he's a much better two-way player, but obviously his offense, he may be a better scorer than Jokic, but Jokic facilitates the ball a lot better. Duncan did a good job of that as well, but Jokic is just the assist. What's so insane about this big dude is all the assists. He has more assists than most point guards.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, again, this is just semantics. So it's like, it is a matter of like, we have to define what we're talking about. Like, I think Duncan is greater than Durant and like greater than every player I've seen maybe since Jordan and Kobe include like Kobe in the mix too, Kobe and Duncan, because as you know, I've got Kobe and Duncan on my Mount Rushmore. So I think very, very highly of those two guys. But this is why I'm saying like eye test stuff is difficult because like, eye test like Duncan probably doesn't surpass some other guys, but in terms of his greatness level and his impact on winning and his dominance on both sides of the ball, like, yes, I think the world of Tim Duncan. I think there's no doubt Tim Duncan is like one of the best defensive players I've ever seen in my life. Like he's arguably the best defensive player other than Bill Russell in league history. Like he's right up there. I think Jokic offensively does everything imaginable better than Duncan, but like Duncan's overall impact was immense. He won 5 championships and, like he didn't have super teams. Like I think Duncan and Kobe, the reason I think so highly of them is because they won 5 rings with no super teams. Like, and even look, super teams depend on how we're defining it too. Like the Celtics and Lakers in the 80s might not like have been outward, like mercenary super pairings like LeBron did, but they're stacked teams. And like Duncan and Kobe did not have that level. Like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, like they had multiple top 50 players on their championship teams. Like Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant won 5 titles and they didn't have that. Like they had, like Tim Duncan had serviceable guys, like perennial kind of fringe all-star level guys like Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, Hall of Fame guys, sure, no doubt. But like these aren't top 50 players all time. Kobe had one elite guy in Shaquille O'Neal who absolutely is top 50, but that's one guy and that's it. Like that's pretty much it. Kobe's next, like they didn't have anybody after Kobe and Shaq on that first three-peat run. And then he had freaking Pau Gasol, not even a top 75 player when he won his next 2. So that's one of the reasons why I respect Kobe and Duncan so much. And like Jokic has even less help than those two by a lot. So like, it's unfair to say like, oh, well, Jokic only has 1 and those guys have 5 because Jokic does have a lot less than even those two had. And I'm saying those two had less than other great players. But again, Jokic, like at some point, if you are, and I think he is a top 10 player, I really do. And I think based on the eye test that we've been talking about, he is like a top 3 player I've ever seen. But like, if he is that great, like he's got to will his team to at least 1 more. Like, I don't care what the surrounding situations are, how good the league is around him, how much better other great players, supporting cast are. If he really is like one of the 2 or 3 best players ever, he's going to just find a way to snatch 1 more ring. But that's a great question, Tushbar. And again, sorry for massacring your handle. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Next in, what do we got? Oh, what is up, brother? I'm going to massacre this too. I haven't said it. I've not said this name out loud. Ivan, I believe. I hope I didn't massacre this name too much. One of my Serbian brethren who we talk offline as well. So hopefully I did not massacre. I believe it's Ivan, I want to say. Welcome in, my brother, my Serbian brother. And let's see, I'm sure this is going to be a Nikola Jokic centric question or comment. Gary, go ahead and thank you very much, Yvonne, for joining us as always and for supporting me here. What is the question or comment though, Gary?
Another Nuggets win without Jokic. Peyton Watson is becoming a 3rd best Nugget slowly. Congrats, SKAP, on firing of Mike Tomlin, the Doc Rivers of the NFL.
Let me just take this down for 1 minute and let me just show Let me show what's lurking under this jacket. That's right, guys. That's right. If for those of you who don't know, now you know. A big NBA guy, admittedly. My first real love, though, in sports, growing up in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, were the Steelers. And I was such an enormous fan of that team when I was younger. I actually, through college, basically, I would skip a whole week of school when the Steelers would be eliminated from the playoffs. So like beginning early in grade school, like in like the 4th or 5th grade, and then running through college, I would just slip into a deep-seated depression for like a week after my Steelers were eliminated from the playoffs. And then this thing happened. And this thing that I refer to as this fraudulent, undeserving guy, this 34-year-old undeserved guy, Mike Tomlin, took over the job 19 years ago. He won one lucky Super Bowl 2 years into that tenure with his predecessor's staff and players. And then basically since then had done a total of jack shit over the 17 years that will follow, including not a single playoff win for 9 full years and counting. Finally, at long last, though, the national nightmare, at least the citywide nightmare going on in Pittsburgh, is finally at long last over. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Mike Tomlin has stepped down today. Thank you, Yvonne, for offering your congratulations for me. It is a big day because I have fallen off of the Steelers bandwagon in recent years, and now I'm firmly entrenched back on. I'm excited for this coaching, this coaching search or whatever they're looking for the next guy who I'm certain is going to be probably between the ages of 35 and 45, someone they're going to want to have in place there for at least 20 plus years. It will be the 4th head coach now since 1969 in Pittsburgh, which is an incredible thing to think about. But to the point of Yvonne on the first part of that, yes, I talked about Watson in excess already here. Hopefully you heard that. They got to do whatever it takes. If it's getting rid of Brown in the offseason, then so be it. Or even before the trade deadline, if he has any value with the way he's playing right now, just to make some kind of room in order to get Watson. Because, I mean, this guy could be like the second best player on this team some nights. He's actually been leading the team in scoring the last couple games, a 25-point per game score since Jokic went down. Just an absolute stud defensively, and he's very athletic, long, rangy. Like I said, exactly what I've been praying that the Nuggets would get. He's turned into just that, and now I don't know if they're going to be able to retain him in the summer, so I'm hoping they find a way to do it. And, look, if they can get Aaron Gordon back and not have his legs disintegrate in the playoffs, and Jamal Murray can stay healthy, which is, again, another big if, and if Jokic comes back relatively healthy with Peyton Watson, like, this, we're onto something here. The Denver Nuggets are going to be competitive in the postseason, but again, all these players are hurt. Cam is still out, so and basically Jokic is the most durable player on that team by far. Every other player has a pretty shady and sordid background with injuries, and they're all pretty injury prone. Jokic, the most durable guy, and now even he is hurt for extended weeks. So really, it's just going to all come down to health with the Denver Nuggets. But if it's a huge if they can get healthy, again, we might be onto something in the postseason. Next thing, we've got the incorruptible, one of our biggest supporters here on the SKAP After Dark Live and just on my channel in general. Shout out to you, brother. Many thanks for your continued support here and for your very generous donation here in the sponsor area of the live stream tonight. Gary, what does the Incorruptible have for us tonight?
Just finished 80 minutes of physical therapy, and I've been on the indoor bike lots. How is our boy Kyrie progressing? Also, who is your top 5 in the league today? Only two-way players.
Wow, lot there. First of all, 80 minutes of PT. Wow, congratulations. And on the indoor bike, nice. Shout out to you for keeping it tight, as we say as we get older. I try to get something in at least for about 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week still, even at my advanced age here. I gotta keep it looking good, guys. But shout out to you, Incorruptible. And for PT, hopefully everything's going well with your health and so forth. Good luck on, everything on that front with whatever's going on. Speaking, though, of training and getting back up to speed, Kyrie Irving, that's a great question. I'm honestly not sure. I was honestly expecting timeline-wise with when he got hurt, I was expecting him to be a back somewhere like after Christmas, like kind of close to after Christmas, with the general timeline laid out for ACL injuries when he hurt it last year. So, I mean, I would anticipate that he should be back any day now, but with what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks, who knows, because they are an absolute mess. They are outside of the play-in range at this point. They're not even in that top 10 seed line, and it doesn't look like they're going to get back in anytime soon, despite the emergence of Cooper Flagg, who looks like an absolute home run there. The future is very bright with him, and I guess them if they can build around him in the right way. But for this season, it's basically over already. AD can barely stay on the court. This guy is 100% made out of glass, and he hurt his hand in some weird flukish, like it looked like he was just defending somebody running beside him, and then whatever he did to his hand, it looked like he was going to miss. The report came out earlier today that he was going to miss months with hand surgery. Then, like a few hours after that report came out, Shams Charania, the stud ESPN insider, NBA insider, came out and refuted that initial report and said that they were going to just rest it, no surgery, 6 weeks out. And now the Dallas Mavericks are engaging other teams in the trade market trying to get rid of AD. So whether he's hurt or not doesn't really matter, because he ain't going to be on the Mavericks probably for much longer after the trade deadline, which is February 5th at 3 p.m. So there's really no need or reason to rush Kyrie back now at his advanced age. Hell, maybe they just leave him out until he is absolutely unequivocally ready, and they just let him, run some cardio in some games in the last maybe 3 to 4 weeks of the season, and maybe set him up for next season. Who knows what his future is long-term with that organization. I'd suggest that he's probably on his way out of Dallas as well. I think the Mavericks are just going to go young, blow it up, and try to just construct something around Cooper Flagg. But that's a great question, Incorruptible, on Kyrie. And I must admit, you caught me with my pants down to some degree on that. I'm not certain. Top 5 in the league today, only two-way players. Interesting, because two-way players, I know you're a big KG fan, who was one of the most elite all-time two-way players. And of course, I'm a big Kobe guy. Again, one of the most elite two-way players. Today, really no such thing as two-way players. They just don't really exist. You used to, back in the early 2000s, see guys that perennially were like all-NBA and all-NBA defense. KG, Duncan, Kobe. Like before them, like Hakeem Olajuwon, Jordan. Guys that were good, that did do both. Now,
Victor Wembanyama.
Well, yes, Gary, I'm getting to him because I'm saying there aren't many, but there is at least one. The absolute no-brainer. Your man Vic. He is, I think, pretty easily by far and away the best two-way player. He's like a walking 25-12 when he gets on the court, in addition to leading the league in blocks probably for every year for the rest of his life that he's in the NBA. Every year that he makes at least 65 games, or until they change that rule. So either if they change the 65 game minimum requirement to be eligible to make those teams, or if he makes the 65 games played that he has to hit, he will be first team all NBA defense every year. So like he has an opportunity. I think Kobe has the most first team selections, tied with Jordan. Kobe, Jordan, KG, and Gary Payton are tied with the most first team selections in league history, 9. And I think Kobe has 12 total defensive selections. That's second most ever to Duncan, who I think has 15 total all NBA first or second team defensive selections. at Vic's age and at his ability level, if he can just play the games required to get to it, he has an opportunity, I think, to eclipse that record by Duncan and get the most defensive selections ever. And he will be probably first team All NBA for like the next 10 years if he can, again, play the minimum amount. So I think you begin the list with the best guy there is in Vic, the best two-way player, Victor Wembanyama. Next, I'm still going to say, even though he's older, even though he's been dealing with injuries the last couple years, look, there's 3 guys in the history of organized basketball that have been the league MVP and the defensive player of the year. They are Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo is still breathing. He is still playing on an NBA court, and therefore Giannis Antetokounmpo is still on that list of, in my estimation, the best two-way players in the entire league. I would then probably go next to, I got to give a shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. People think that I'm a hater or that I don't like SGA. It's not true. I think very high of SGA. It's just that he's not better than Nikola Jokic. He's not more valuable than Nikola Jokic. That's all I say. I practically never denigrate, talk down, belittle, do anything negative with SGA. Like I never have SGA looking like an idiot on a thumbnail with choke next to his face or ass or whatever. Like I don't do my typical stuff that I do with guys that I don't respect with SGA, because I do respect him and I do think he's an elite two-way player. It just so happens his team is full of elite defenders, so he doesn't have to show how great of a two-way player he is as much as these other guys that used to play that came before him. Like SGA still hasn't made an All-NBA defensive team in his career yet, but he's still, I think, highly of this guy. I think he finished 7th or 8th in defensive player of the year 2 or 3 years ago. He's upper echelon in terms of steals and stuff. On ball defense, he's quite good as well. SGA obviously makes my list for my top 5 two-way players in the NBA today. I think I got to go to Jaylen Brown next, Gary. I'm very high on Jaylen Brown and what he's been showing this season, how he's been performing overall. I think he's an undervalued defender, and I think he's just been underrated his whole career because of how much of a stud Jason Tatum was and how much of the spotlight Tatum took away from Brown. But Brown is looking like a top 5 MVP candidate right now. He's averaging like 29.5 points per game, 5.5 assists, I believe, and like 6 rebounds. Something along those lines is a stat line at right around 50% shooting, and he defends. Jaylen Brown makes my list for sure. Those would be right off the top of my head, to me, I think my top 4 guys. Gary, let me throw you a bone. Who is there anybody that I'm glaringly missing in terms of two-way guys? I know Anthony Edwards can get after it on defense. He's obviously an elite offensive player. Many people might speculate that I should have him on my list of 5, but I don't think I'm ready to go there quite yet with him. What about you? What say you? Am I missing anybody right off the top of your head?
Well, obviously, you would say Kawhi Leonard if the guy was able to stay healthy for more than a string of games at a time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, Gary, he's having a great year. When he's on the court, he's having a crazy year. He's like 4th in PER right now. So like he still is, and I think he just dropped a double nickel earlier this season, a career high 55. So, I mean, I think for sure when he's on the court, I think that he's absolutely, you've got to mention his name. I think I would probably say though, Evan Mobley would be like, if you force me to name somebody, it would probably be him. He won Defensive Player of the Year last year, so he's an elite defender. We know, Gary, that Victor Wembanyama was the Defensive Player of the Year last year if he played 65 games. He didn't. Evan Mobley became the Defensive Player of the Year, and he did it while scoring like roughly 19. He was like 19 or 18.5 points per game. So he was all NBA second team. So all NBA second team and all NBA defensive first team and Defensive Player of the Year. He's averaging like 17.5 points per game this year. Still an elite defender. The Cavs are struggling, but just to complete my top 5 of two-way players, I would probably throw him on there.
And same thing with Anthony Davis if he was able to stay healthy.
True.
He's a two-way.
Before we jump into this next super chat, which is just E, who is going to talk smack on me, which is fine. I welcome it as long as it's respectfully done. Let's just check in on the Lakers, who have surged ahead in this game at halftime on the strength of a 44-point second quarter, a 44-30 run in the second quarter overall to take a 21-point lead into the locker room. 80. How about 81 points for the Lakers at half? So the Atlanta Hawks doing work, putting up 60, but down by 21 points. And it is Luka Doncic who is driving the bus tonight. LeBron, look, 12 points for him. Jake LaRavia with 13 on 5 of 6. But it's Luka, 23 points and 7 assists, a plus 18 at half. So Luka is just looking to have a massive game tonight. He might drop a 50 spot if they even need it. They are blowing the Atlanta Hawks to pieces right now at halftime. So that game might very well be in the books. Go ahead, Gary.
I have one more candidate to add to the list. I'm not quite sure if this guy's a really good defender. He's still young, but Alperen Sengun on Houston.
He's actually not a very good defender.
He's not. Okay.
But he is a great player. I think he was an all-star, first-time all-star last year. He's 23 years old. I think he's the best player on the Rockets this season. I thought preseason he was going to be second-team All-NBA. I think he could still be second-team All-NBA. He'll at least make an All-NBA designation in my estimation. But yeah, he's not a great defender, not at this stage of his career at least. Okay, let's see what E has to say. First of all, let's take a look at E's. Let's take a look at his avatar. Do you see the avatar? It is a distorted picture of me to blow up my forehead. Guys, let me just say this. There's no filters on this face right now. All right. What do you think? Take a look at this mug versus E's little avatar. E. First of all, Gary, go ahead and read E's little super chat here.
Scat the Yap at it again. Jokic super team wins.
Scap the Yap is actually a pretty clever name. E, thank you. I like it. But E, methinks the gentleman doth protest too much with you having to distort my face to such a degree. Bro, what is it? Are you jealous of these chiseled good looks here that you see right before you? Am I mogging you too much, E? Is that, as the kids would say? I don't even know if I use that term correctly. I'm not even quite sure what it means, but it is still a hilarious avatar, even though it is not really my face, but funny nonetheless. And Scap the Yap, I like it. And E, I don't know when you sent this, 10:50. Hopefully you were on for my commentary on the Denver Nuggets super team, that laughable commentary, which they are, I believe, now 5-4 overall without Jokic against really mediocre teams. And they're sitting at right around a -2 net differential per game in those 9. So before Jokic got hurt, they were 22-9, and they were plus 8.3 net differential in those roughly 30 games. And now since Jokic got hurt, they're right around 500 at 5-4 and -2 net differential. So that's like a 10-point per game net differential with and without Jokic. And they were playing better teams when Jokic was on than they are with him off. And they were without Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown, which they still kind of are without Aaron Gordon or Christian Brown, I should say. But Aaron Gordon is back and in the swing of it. So it's just a ridiculous, laughable commentary that you have working here. I don't know what your motives are behind this narrative or what anybody's motives are. Typically, it is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander superfans. And again, I just got done praising SGA. I'm not here to bury or criticize SGA. I'm just here to tell you what it is. Nikola Jokic's team last year without him, this year and last year, I'm just going to try to do the quick math in my head. I think they're 8-13 now in the last 2 seasons without Nikola Jokic. So this Denver Nuggets super team that you're talking about here, 8-13 now, last year and this year without Jokic. The Oklahoma City Thunder played 8 games without SGA last year and this year. They're 7-1. So do the math. Who's more valuable? I think that what I just said stands and speaks for itself. Next,
and he says he does watch all your videos. LOL. I think he's just joking around with you. I think he's a fan.
E likes to mix it up, I know. So E's always in here, and I do appreciate E, and it's all in good fun. Like I said, I welcome the pushback, and I welcome the trash talk. Obviously, again, as long as we keep it respectful, try to keep it primarily profanity free, and also stay away from any racial implications. I get a lot of that, and I don't care for it at all. It's ridiculous, and I'll shut that down and block that right away. But other than that, please, guys, criticize and chip away at me. As I said, if you watched my second Anthony Edwards video the other day, I do read a lot of it. I hear a lot, and I do mix it up and respond to a lot of it, and I appreciate it. So thank you, obviously, E, for the fun, and thank you for that funny avatar there. Next thing, we've got Burka. Again, I'm probably massacring this name. I haven't said that out loud in a while, but it is another one of my Serbian brethren. What is up, my friend? Welcome back into the lounge. Great to see you. Gary, what's the question or comment?
Use this to take a break from replying to haters.
Thank you. I will take a sip of my water. Shout out to you, and shout out to our boy Nikola Jokic. Hopefully a speedy recovery from him, my friend. Like I said, I think he's coming back, hopefully sooner than later. Look, whether he gets the MVP or not, I think he was going to easily win the MVP this year, with the fact that the Thunder aren't going to hit 70 wins more than likely, and the fact that the Nuggets were going to get like 60, 61, 62 wins if Jokic didn't get hurt. And Jokic's absurd, all-time great numbers this year. I think Jokic was cruising to a pretty easy MVP. So whether he gets that or not, whatever, it is what it is now that he's missing these games. But I hope that he does get back and plays the minimum of 65 games, because I at least want this guy to get a first-team All-NBA this year, because it's just ridiculous that his numbers are so utterly obscene. He's smashing the all-time mark in BPM and PER by like 3 points right now in both. His own record, by the way. The fact that he could do those things and not be first team, it just feels dirty and just wrong to me. So I'm hoping that he gets back and does manage to hit that 65 minimum and get that first team All-NBA. Giuseppe is back in. What's up, Giuseppe? Man, I've gotten behind on these super chats all of a sudden here, which seems to happen. Thank you guys so much for your generosity and support. I will get to all these super chats, but let's hit this most recent one by Giuseppe. Gary, what's he got this time?
They don't realize the Pelicans are cheeks.
Yeah, the Pelicans, they're, again, I mentioned it. They were 9-33 coming into the night. So, and just the game was in New Orleans, but just 6-18 coming into the night at home. So yeah, they are. Look, let's not sugarcoat it. They're cheeks. Giuseppe, you're spot on that. Next thing, we've got Xavier DeGod making the first of who knows how many appearances. Typically, Xavier comes in here and drops like 2 or 3 rapid successive. I'm looking down. Yes, we've got a couple in here from Xavier. Xavier, as always, I appreciate you, my friend. Shout out to you. Let's get the first one, and then we'll hear from Xavier many more times here, it looks like, down the line. But Gary, go ahead and read this first question or comment.
What if KD went to the Cavs? Who gets finals MVP?
Now, I'm not sure. Does this mean what if KD went to the Cavs when LeBron was on the Cavs back in like whenever LeBron was on the Cavs, like circa like 2013 through 2016, 17-ish? Well, I mean, I don't think that would have ever happened. Just Xavier, here's the reason why. Because KD left in free agency after LeBron won the championship in 2015, 2016. So I don't think LeBron could, or KD couldn't have justified, really, nor could LeBron have justified a pairing that would have put together Durant and LeBron on the heels of a title win for the Cavaliers. So that to me is just a hypothetical that never would have happened. Go ahead, Gary.
He clarified if KD went to the Cavs in 2017, to clarify for you.
Okay.
To
I
join
don't know.
LeBron?
What's that?
To join LeBron?
I guess so. And I guess he's saying like,
Who would get it out of Bron or KD, or I guess Kyrie was still there in 2017, wasn't he?
yes, I think they traded him in 2018. I just think this is just, I don't think it ever would have happened. I think while there was a rise of Steph Curry at that point in the NBA, and Steph kind of blazed his own trail and kind of created his own sort of, I would say he kind of etched his own kind of legacy at that point that made the commentary realistic that he was maybe the best player at the time, or at least in the mix. I think that LeBron and KD and LeBron and KD were like the two consensus best players, like after Kobe kind of seeded. I just don't think, with all of the shit LeBron took for teaming with Wade and Bosh in Miami, I just don't think that he really could have or would have been able to justify it for his legacy to team with the guy who was the consensus next best player in the NBA at the time other than himself. So I just don't see, like, while Wade was a top 3 player when LeBron joined, like, Kobe was still the best player. So the fact that if LeBron was seen as the best player in the NBA and KD was seen as the second best player, I just don't think there was any way he could have justified that, especially with all the negative pushback he got with the Dwayne Wade pairing. So, and look, it's hard to say. I think KD is such a chameleon that he can kind of fit in and he can insinuate himself in and make it work with a lot of different personnel and a lot of different great players. I think the fit is more seamless for KD. He just is whatever he needs to be. LeBron is the one that usurps usage and has to put up his big box score stats and fill the box score. So I think LeBron probably would have made a point to somehow find a way to fill up the stat sheet enough to get that MVP, the finals MVP vote over KD, even if KD was technically more valuable than LeBron during that time. So it's a tough hypothetical to answer, Xavier, but you always are layering on difficult hypotheticals. So I would expect nothing less. And I know there's a couple more to come from you. So I'm interested to see what's next. But first, Stefan, what is up, brother? AKA Vacation Wealth Partners. So he comes in now as the other handle, which I did do. I went on the Stefan Piscano podcast earlier in the year of in 2025. It was great fun. We were on for well over an hour. I'd say it was like 90 minutes. A good listen. So you guys should go find his podcast. Give that a listen. Follow that. And then look for, if you can find it, look for my appearance with him on that. It was a lot of fun. So, and I appreciate you, brother. A very, very generous benefactor here for us here on the SKAP Attack channel. And again, many thanks for your very generous donation here tonight. And Gary, what is the question or comment from him?
Bucks get Austin Reeves and LeBron, and every pick that Lakers can send. Lakers get Giannis and Kuzma's bad contract. Bucks release Lasisi, then he signs with Cavs. Everyone's a winner.
Everyone, but here's the monkey in the wrench. This is the fly in the ointment, if you will. The Lakers don't have many picks to send. So that's pretty much the primary issue. I think if the Bucks do part ways with Giannis, which I ultimately at this point think is very unrealistic in advance of this trade deadline, I think he will be moved in the summer, but it's going to wait till the summer. There's going to be some obscene amount of picks involved in that deal. So I don't see realistically that the Lakers have enough control of enough of their picks. Hell, I don't know if they have any pick control up until like 2030. They might have one pick that they control, one first round pick that they have the control of between now and 2031. So it's just not enough. The Lakers have realistically no chance and no way to bring in Giannis Antetokounmpo. If they do want to pair Luka and Giannis, which I agree would be a sexy pairing and a very, very good fit, I think, for both of those players. Giannis would have to play out the existing portion of his contract. The Lakers, of course, can shed LeBron James this summer. Then they could stay basically inactive and keep that kind of hole available, or sign a guy to a 1-year big deal expiring or whatever. Make sure the cap is clean and free to absorb like $50+ million a year within 2 years, which is when Giannis would become free. And then they could team up then at that point. But Giannis at that time would be like 33 years old. So I just don't know if it's in the cards to pair Luka and Giannis, though it would be a hell of a team up if you ask me. So good question. But unfortunately, the Lakers have just been a little too fast and loose with those picks in recent years to really make a serious trade offer to get Giannis in there. Next, Xavier is back in again. Like I said, we would see him again, and here he is. Shout out to you again, my friend. Gary, what does this most recent one say?
LeBron to the Warriors, Clippers, 76ers, or Cavs? Is that a question or a statement? Are you saying which? I guess he's asking which would be the better fit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say not the Sixers because they're a hospital unit half the time. Ditto with the Clippers. Yeah, if you can assure health of either of those two squads and dump LeBron James in the middle of it, I would say compelling. But yeah, the best, most realistic thing would be obviously the Warriors or Cavs. He played in the Cavs, obviously, two other times before. He's from Cleveland. Makes a lot of sense. They're in the way weaker conference. They do have a direct pathway to the finals if he goes there, I think, as Gary referenced earlier on. The Warriors, of course, LeBron and Steph have been flirting for years, mainly LeBron more so than Steph, but they actually did play in the Olympics together and they played well together. So I think that kind of makes sense. And both of those two guys are like two aging all-time greats, kind of on like the last run. They're like these aging gunslinging cowboys that are like on one last mission together kind of deal. Kind of makes sense. And Jimmy Butler's in the mix as well there. The problem is, again, guys, I'm just going to keep pointing it out. It's almost an untradeable contract because nobody is going to be willing to give up the contract values to match a $55 million 41-year-old that might be done at the end of this year. Maybe he'll play one more year, but they're just not going to give up the requisite assets to make that move for like 1 year or half year, because quite frankly, LeBron just isn't that good anymore. Like he still could make some teams better, but like he's making the Lakers much worse. So even if you have somewhat of disposable assets, like how much are you realistically willing to give up for this guy just to make your team maybe better and maybe not? So it's just, to me, I know a lot of people want to see a crazy, splashy trade deadline move, and LeBron James still off the court moves the needle like none other, but I just don't see him being traded. Realistically, the only way I see him not finishing this season with the Lakers is if they agree to some kind of a buyout or they just outright cut LeBron James. So like that realistically is the only way that he doesn't finish this year in a Laker uniform. If you ask me, I will be shocked otherwise, and I'll probably make like 10 videos in a 2-day span if that does happen. But Xavier, if you're just asking me if I wave my magical wand and put him somewhere, I mean, probably the Warriors even make more sense than the Cavs. While the East is way easier, I think if you put him with Curry and Butler and they all stay healthy, that kind of gets him closer to maybe being a championship contending team. And that's, I would think, what LeBron would want if he leaves LA at this point. Next in, we've got Luka Legend 7156. What's up, Luka Legend? I like the handle. He's got a little Luigi there as his avatar. Thank you. Welcome in to the sponsor area here of the live stream. Thank you very much for your kind support. And Gary, what is the question or comment here?
What's your business email for inquiries?
Well, good question. It's actually on, if you go to my YouTube channel and go to the little like 3 dots, or the little about me section or whatever, it is listed right there publicly, so everybody can see it, but I don't mind giving it to you now. It's a little, it's my name. So, and my name is kind of crazy. So it's a confusing name or whatever. So I'll just tell you real quick right now. It's j.skapanak@gmail.com. That's SKAP as in Paul, INAC @gmail.com. And again, that is public on my YouTube channel in the About Me section, so you can find it there as well. But yeah, shoot me an email. We can connect on there if you want. I answer as many emails as I can. I do get a decent amount of emails about my YouTube channel. That's actually how Gary and I connected. We told the story last time, but you can find me there. And then I don't give my number out publicly, so I won't give my number out here, and I don't list that on YouTube, but I will give it out, and I've given it out before, like to Gary, once I establish an email rapport with you. Speaking of which, I've done the same with my main man, Stefan here, who is back in again. We are connected as well offline here. So thank you again for coming back in, my friend. Again, a very generous supporter of the channel here. Gary, what is this follow-up question or comment from him?
Well, thank you for confirming that this fact is true, because I didn't know any facts that weren't true. I'm just messing with you. Fun, true fact. Bronny somehow now is shooting a higher percentage this season from both the free throw line and three-pointers than LeBron Sr.
I do not doubt this number. I just want to see it though. I want to see exactly like what LeBron is shooting and what Bronny's shooting. I know Bronny was 2 of 2 from the three-point line the other night in 1 minute. He scored 6 points in 1 minute in the last minute of that game that they got blitzed last night by Sacramento. LeBron this year is shooting 30.4%. So about 30% even from the three-point line. Now let's see what Junior is shooting. Bronny James, aka LeBron James Jr. I'm sorry, it is LeBron Ramon James Jr., aka Bronny. Let's see what he is shooting. He is now shooting 35%. So it's actually not even close. Like he's shooting 5 percentage points higher than Pops from the three-point line. That's pretty crazy. Let me see that. I want to get to the totals here, if I may. Because I want to see how many three-pointers. So he's only shot 20 though. So in fairness to LeBron, like Bronny has shot 20 three-pointers and made 7 of them. So whatever, that's 35%. But it is true. I can confirm this is a fun, true fact that Junior is out shooting Pops from behind the line. That's pretty funny. LeBron once famously said, like 3 years ago, in like game 3 or 4 of the regular season, while he was trashing his teammates after a game, great teammate that he is, of course, as we know he's been for his entire career, trashing his teammates after like the 3rd game of the season, he said, quote, "We don't have any lasers on this team. I've been searching for that drop, that soundbite for like 2 years. Like I can't find it anywhere, but I remember it. I was watching the presser live, and then my idol and mentor, Jim Rome, used that drop in excess like 3 years ago whenever LeBron said it for like the whole year. So I know he said it. I know that clip is out there, but for the life of me, I can't find it on YouTube to use in any of my videos. But yes, LeBron is not a laser, to use his own word, his own terminology. He's no laser from behind the three-point line this year. 30% just from behind the arc. He, of course, was 0 of 5 last night. And JJ was crying in the postgame last night about how they're missing all these wide open shots. Gee, I wonder who he might be talking about. Could it be LeBron James Sr.? Next in, we've got Xavier DeGod back in yet again. Brother, welcome in yet again for like, I believe your third appearance now tonight. Gary, what's this one say?
LeBron can only go to the Cavs or Heat because if he goes anywhere else and doesn't win, he doesn't have the narrative won a title on every team he's been on.
That's a great point. And it's also, I think he just doesn't want to be seen as like a total team hopper, even though he clearly is. But I think that, you know, by saying that he's whatever, like he's been to 3 teams, like if you push it to a 4th team, now there's been different stints on each team. So take that with what you will, as what you will. But if he goes to a 4th different team, like a different franchise, I think that really ups the team hopping mercenary type narrative, which of course I've been pushing for the last like 8, 9 years. But I think LeBron does not want to go to a completely different team. I do agree with that one, Xavier. Next in, we've got Amanda Draws. Did I do that right, Gary? Amanda Draws 8682.
Yep.
Amanda, what's up? We have a lady viewer. Welcome. And presumptively, I guess I shouldn't assume or whatever these days, but Amanda, many thanks for tuning in. My demos are skew very, very high to the male side of the spectrum. I believe at last check, I look at my demographics usually at the end of the month. And I think I've got about 95% are men. So I've got about a 5% audience share of women. And apparently we've got one on the live stream. I think, I guess, Amanda, welcome into you. Shout out for being here. I do appreciate it. And thank you so much for your kind support here as well in donating to the live stream here in the sponsor area. Gary, what is the question or comment that Amanda has for us?
NBA 2K typically uses the 89-90 Michael Jordan as the best Jordan used on all-time Bulls. Do you agree or disagree? It's always the age 26 version.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's hard to say, like, the three-peat, Jordan's numbers aren't quite as good in the three-peat years, 91 through 93, as they were in like 86 through like 90. So like Jordan's individual numbers were just preposterous. There was one year he averaged 37 points per game. Another year where he averaged like 35, 6 and 6 and was defensive player of the year. And he wasn't winning. He didn't even win MVP some of these years. And he didn't win any championships. But to me, yeah, that probably was the best Jordan version. There is a narrative that like, oh, well, Jordan had to learn how to win, and he was like a better team player, and he was more of a cerebral player. So he was therefore overall better in the early 90s and late 90s than he was in the mid to late 80s. But I really just think he just had crap teams surrounding him. I think Jordan was by far the best player in like 87, 88, 89. And if he had like one viable all-star, he would have been winning the championship every year those years too. I honestly think there was a question about Nikola Jokic earlier tonight and comparing him to Jordan. I think of Nikola Jokic right now and like the last couple years was in his Michael Jordan 80s phase where he's like clear and far and away by far the best player, individual player by far, by a lot. Has been Nikola Jokic like the last 4 or 5 years, just like Jordan was in like 87, 88, 89, 90. He just wasn't winning because the team wasn't good enough. That's kind of how I view Jokic and why he hasn't been winning the last 4 or 5 years because the team wasn't good enough. Now the team looks very, very good this year. Will they be healthy enough though to make like a solid run in the postseason? That's yet to be seen, obviously. But Amanda, to answer your question, I think like Jordan, probably like 87. Like if I'm looking at a 5-year span, it's probably like 87 through like 92 was like the absolute, like the 5-year like monster peak of Jordan. If I had to pick one singular season, it probably would be that year he won league MVP and defensive player in the same season. And I want to say it was 1988. It was. So 1988. Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year and was a league MVP. Let me lay these numbers. I believe it was like 35, 6 and 5 or something like that. But let me lay these numbers on you real quick. Yes, he was MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, 87, 88, 24 years of age, actually. 82 games played, 82 games started, so didn't miss a single game. He led the NBA in minutes played, 40 a night. He led the NBA in field goals made at 13 per game. He shot 53.5% from the field. He led the NBA in steals that year, 3.2 steals per game on average in an 82-game season, 35 points per game, led the NBA. Advanced stuff. Michael Jordan led the NBA in value over replacement, led the NBA in box plus minus, in defensive box plus minus, in offensive box plus minus, in win share per 48, in win shares overall, in offensive win shares, in PER, and in minutes, total minutes played. That to me, 1987-88, 24-year-old Michael Jordan was, to me, the best Michael Jordan ever was. But again, it didn't result in him winning an NBA championship. So again, take that as for what you will, Amanda. But to me, that's my answer. And I think I didn't watch that at all. In 1987-88, I was like 2 years old or whatever, 2 or 3 years old. Maybe a little bit older. I'm trying to make myself seem younger than I am. But I was a baby. Like, I don't remember. I watched none of that. So this goes back to my whole commentary on the eye test. I didn't see any of that, but I know it existed. I could go back and evaluate it and kind of contextualize it. And therefore, I know that Michael Jordan existed. So even though I didn't see that Michael Jordan play with my own two eyes, I still know that Michael Jordan is still the greatest player of all time. Great question, though, man. And again, thank you for being here. Mark Law 13. Mark, what's up, my friend? A regular here on my channel in general, on the videos and here in the live stream. Welcome back in, and appreciate you and your ongoing support here. Gary, what is this question or comment from Mark?
Fans call you crazy, but how can you call Steph overrated but rate Kawhi highly bar injuries? Who's your top 5 of 2010s? LeBron, KD, Harden, Kawhi, Steph Curry consensus. And did you ever do your 2010s video? Because you were doing one every decade. That's got to be the hardest decade, really. Did you do that video?
I did not do the 2010s, and we're halfway through. We're over halfway. It's 2026 now, so we're like getting now. We can really do 2020s too. Yes, I get a lot of pushback. I get beat up, quite frankly, Mark. I get beat to shit in my comments anytime I talk junk on the baby-faced assassin Steph Curry. I'm just not high on Steph Curry. I think he's a great player. I respect him. I think he's top 15 all time. But I don't have him top 10. And I think consensus at this point has him top 10. And a lot of people have him top 5 or maybe even in GOAT considerations. That's why I call him overrated. Also, I'm not putting Kawhi in any of those standings. Kawhi's not top 5 to me, not top 10, not even top 15. So I have Steph Curry higher than Kawhi Leonard career for career, because of Steph Curry's accomplishments. What you're talking about with factoring in injuries and stuff, I'm talking Kawhi Leonard's peak and when he is available on the court. But like, he hasn't been available on the court and hasn't been injury-free enough for me to rank him in my top 10 or 15 all-time players. But when he's on the court, though, I mean, he's arguably like a top 10 all-time player. When you talk about two-way player, the guy, I'm pretty sure, he's won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, I think. And look, he's never won an MVP, but he plays at that level. He's two-time Finals MVP though, and he has one of the best playoff runs. He had a 30-point per game playoff run where he was an elite defender, one with Toronto, like a Kobe Bryant kind of Michael Jordan type single-year run that year with Toronto. So like, Kawhi's peak is extraordinarily high, his healthy peak, but he's not healthy and available enough for me to put him above Steph Curry all time for his career. I hope that kind of sorts it out for you, Mark. And again, I'm not trying to belittle Steph Curry. He's a great player. He's one of the 15 best players ever in my estimation, but he's not top 10 to me. So who's my top 5 of the 2010s? Let me try to sort through it. Is that James Harden? Would JH be James Harden?
Yeah. Yep, Kawhi, Steph Curry, KD, LeBron.
Yeah, in the 2010s, LeBron, KD, Kawhi, Curry. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give you much resistance on this top 5. I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, James Harden. I know, Gary. We won't do it. You and I aren't going to get into it much.
Actually, probably Dwayne Wade. Would Wade be there?
You can make a case, although Wade
over Harden. It's just hard to put Harden there with his.
But let me say this: Wade was more. Wade kind of maxed out by like 2014, 2013, 2014. So he only played like Wade bridged like middle of the early 2000s into the 2010s. Like Wade was really top of the NBA like 2000. 7, 8, 9. And then he was still great in 2010, 11, 12. Then like 13, 14, 15, he started going down the other end. So, yeah, I mean, you could, yeah. I mean, I'd say James Harden, look, I know you're not high on Russell Westbrook, Gary, that's fine. And we can get into that conversation at a later time. But I'd say you could maybe argue Russell Westbrook and James Harden's place. I guess I probably would have Harden above Westbrook for the totality, just because Harden was very competitive with those Rockets teams. He took the Rockets while he choked every year pretty much in the playoffs. He was very competitive, and he took the Kevin Durant Warriors to a game 7 actually as well when he had that Rockets team. So yeah, I wouldn't give you much resistance, Mark. I would say those of the 2010s, those probably are consensus top 5 guys. And I don't think personally, I think you know me enough, and most people probably that are on at this point of this live stream know me enough to know that I don't think all that highly of the 2010s. So again, take it with a grain of salt, me saying that these guys are top 5 of that decade that I don't think very highly at all of. But a couple of those guys I do think highly. I think, and look, as much as I, criticize LeBron James and the overall path of his career, like he's a top 15 player too. So, I'd say like LeBron, KD, and Curry are all-time top 15 players, arguably. I'd say they all are probably on my list. If I really sat down and plotted out a top 15, I'd say those guys are probably all my top 15. But none of them are in my top 10. So again, take that as you will. Xavier's back in for, I guess, a 4th time now. Go ahead, Gary. This looks like
this is for you. Play. You need to read this to me.
Okay. All right. I will read this 4th entry into the book of Xavier to God on this live stream to you, Gary. Gary, do you wish the Spurs still have Derek White or DeJounte Murray? And what did you think of LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan on the Spurs?
Absolutely do not miss DeJounte Murray at all. I'm completely fine with him leaving. And all the draft picks we got, that worked out very well for us. Derek White is a great player, but we've got Stephon Castle, we've got Dylan Harper, and actually Devin Vassell is not a great player, but he fits in very well. He gives us minutes. So I actually like him. I think we're hurting without him. I think it's showing that we're missing his absence right now. And what did I think of LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan on the Spurs? Well, I was very excited when we signed Aldridge when he is a free agent. I was very excited, but I've got to tell you, after about 2 weeks, I was like, he's not a good fit. And it just went downhill. He was supposed to soften the blow and compensate for when Duncan was on the brink of retirement. Well, Duncan's last 2 years, he was out playing Aldridge. I'm like, this old beat-up Duncan was playing better than Aldridge. If you look at that 2016 series and they got eliminated by OKC, Duncan was playing way better than Aldridge. And then what I think of DeMar DeRozan on the Spurs, well, I thought, if you recall, during that offseason, Jimmy Butler was trying to get off of the Timberwolves. I thought we should have sent Kawhi to the Timberwolves for Jimmy Butler. I mean, I don't know, but I think Jimmy Butler and Pop might have gotten along well. DeRozan is a very good role player, but he's not like a takeover guy. Like Jimmy Butler, I would have loved to have seen what they could have done. So I was not a big fan of Aldridge and DeRozan, but it all worked out in the end. We got a nice we're still reaping the benefits with our draft picks from those dealings back then. And now I'll throw it back to you, Jay. What do you think on all this?
Well, Gary, I'm just going to have to defer to your Spurs expertise on this. I don't disagree with a single thing that you said. The one I will say this, DeMar DeRozan, I think I saw something the other day. Hang on one second. First of all, the LaMarcus Aldridge thing, I think is funny. I just want to give a quick little anecdote about that. He was a free agent, and he was actually exploring the Lakers around that time that he ended up signing with the Spurs. And he was like the prize free agent on the market at that time. And
Right.
Allegedly, according to people that were in the meeting when he met with the Lakers, the number one free agent on the market came to a meeting, and Kobe Bryant showed up like 15 minutes late to the meeting to sit in with Aldridge, and then essentially said that he could rebound for Kobe and that it was Kobe's team, and he saw him just kind of as like a role player on the team. So I just think that's just one of the many hilarious Kobe stories that I've heard. Obviously, he ends up not signing with the Lakers and went to the Spurs instead. But I want to see DeMar DeRozan. I did. Okay. So DeMar DeRozan just moved past Vince Carter on the all-time scoring list, which is insane to me. So that was when I saw DeMar DeRozan thing, that's what I first thought of, because I thought I heard the other day that he surpassed Vince Carter. DeMar DeRozan is 23rd in NBA history in scoring. Would you believe that he is 21 points away from passing Kevin Garnett on the all-time scoring list? That is wild that DeMar DeRozan has scored that many points, like, quietly. And then this one will blow your mind even more. He is 200 points behind Steph Curry. So obviously Steph Curry is still actively playing, but DeMar DeRozan, 200 points behind Steph Curry, is honestly just crazy. And he is, this year, he's I want to say only 36, but he's basically the same age as Steph Curry. So like, he's just scored a lot of freaking points. Like, he's a 21 point per game scorer for his entire career. And I mean, he's had a couple of elite scoring years. Like in 2021, 2022, when he's 32 years old in Chicago, he finished second team All NBA, 28 points per game. So, I mean, DeMar DeRozan kind of like a sneaky, quiet, like pretty good career. And he's only been he's only been an all-star 6 times. 6 times in 17 years to be that. So just like a kind of a fringe, not even half the time of an all-star, to have that kind of career is like pretty crazy. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, Xavier, for the question. And thank you, Gary, for taking us on a trip down memory lane for the Spurs, because you know far more about the history of that organization than I do. Next in, we've got Adam Freeman, 6040. Adam, what's up? Welcome in. I appreciate you being here and contributing and obviously giving us the financial support as well on this live stream. You guys have been very generous tonight. We're still working our way. We got a couple super chats still here to go, seemingly. So I will try my best to speed it up, but I love talking to you guys and answering the questions. So Gary, what does this one from Adam say?
Now, let me preface this. Let me get confirmation. Are you now officially a reinstated Pittsburgh Steelers diehard fanatic once again?
Well, I'm not going to go as far as diehard yet, because Gary, I'm like a scorned lover at this point. Like I essentially, it's like the love of my life, like
left you, and now they're calling.
And now after years, my love has returned to my doorstep and is professing the love back to me, saying that they've changed and they want to give it another go. And I want to believe that they're telling the truth. I want to believe it, and I want to get back in. So a part of me is very optimistic, but a part of me is still going to remain very guarded and protective right now. So I have to, but I will say this: I've opened the door and I've let them in, and I'm having the conversation. So let's see what the coaching search yields. But yes, I would say right now, tentatively, I am back. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan once again.
Likewise, as a Cowboys fan, I'm still waiting on that call from Jerry Jones, because when he fired Jimmy Johnson, that's how I'm with 30 years later, I'm waiting for Jimmy to give me that call to welcome me back as well. Okay. Which head coach would you prefer for the Steelers job? And what are your thoughts on Will Howard as the next quarterback? He won the Natty with Ohio State. Are we sure Will Howard is the next quarterback? Because we don't know how Ohio State national championship quarterbacks translate to the NFL.
Yeah, he was a stud in that last year in Ohio State. I believe, look, he's from PA, this kid, Will Howard. I think Downingtown area, actually. So kind of like Philly, more closer to Philadelphia area, but still, he's from Pennsylvania. From what I understand, he really desperately wanted to go to Penn State. They didn't want him. He went to Kansas State, I think, out of high school and played there for several years, like 3 or 4 years, then transferred. He wanted to then go back. He wanted to go to Penn State again. They still didn't want him. So he went to Ohio State, beat Penn State, and then obviously went on and won the national championship game. And he was a stud that year with Ohio State. He was like 70% completion percentage, 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks, something along those lines that season. And in the playoffs, he was a stud, like 8 touchdowns, only 2 picks, threw like 1,000 yards, and Ohio State won the championship. I think he was like a 6th-round pick by the Steelers. So not like a lot of draft capital behind him. Not sure what they think they have in him. Obviously, they would know better. They've had him in the building for the year. So I don't know. That would be up to the coach that comes in. For me, I would love to see Kevin Stefanski. The guy got fired by the Cleveland Browns in this cycle. So he spent 6 years in Cleveland in absolute hell. I'm not even going to call it purgatory. Cleveland is hell. And he won AP Coach of the Year 2 times in those 6 seasons. And he won a playoff game, albeit 5 years ago. But he won Cleveland's first playoff game in like a billion years. And he beat the Steelers in doing it. And if the Browns just kept Baker Mayfield, I think that Kevin Stefanski's tenure would have looked a lot different. But instead, the Browns dumped Baker Mayfield and went after Deshaun Watson instead, gave that dude $280 million guaranteed. So, and he's barely played since his like 70 sexual assault allegations stemming from his massage therapy thing. And then he got hurt. He tore, I think he ruptured his Achilles. He tore his shoulder up. He hurt his back. Anyway, that not only have they not gotten him to play really any games at all, they've also got like a $40 or $50 million hole in their cap because he's taking up all that money. So really that just burns Stefanski's whole tenure to the ground. I think the guy's an incredible offensive mind. He's only 43 years old. He could grow. He could he could spend 20 years with the Steelers organization, which is what they're looking for. And really, I would go after that guy. I would say, hey, listen, bro, you find whatever quarterback you want. Take your time. Take 2-3 years if that's how long it takes. You've got job security. Just find your quarterback and let's roll. That's what I would do if I were the Steelers. But who the hell knows what they're thinking or what they're going to do, Adam. But great question, and thank you for coming in and thank you for asking me about my Steelers, who they are now, my Steelers again. All right, I am very far behind on these super chats, so let's see what we can get up to here. Here, go ahead. Did you want to add something though, Gary?
Well, this comment from the Jupiter Knight says, "Go Spurs, go! LaFlop James needs to retire." And speaking of, the Lakers are giving up. They had a 21-point lead. The Hawks have cut it down to 12. I think it's at 13 right now. I just saw LeBron's last shot was a nasty brick. Getting tired in the fourth quarter, of course. But just to let you know, Jay, you may need to do a late night SKAP attack on LeBron because this story is all too familiar.
Yes, I did check, Gary. They were up, I believe, 21 at the end of nearing the end of the third. I checked it out real quick. It was like 101-80 nearing the end. You're right. Now it is down actually to it's 11. So the Lakers are up 108-97. So yeah, well, we will keep an eye on that, guys. Stay tuned here. We are now firmly in the SKAP Live After Dark because we are After Dark. It is ticked over. It is 12:30 in the morning and 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast. If you're watching, so stay with us because we've got a lot of super chats to get to here, and we will keep an eye on the Lakers game. Jupiter Knight, thank you. good luck to your Spurs the rest of the season. And yes, I agree. LaFlop does need to retire. And now we've got Six Wheel Cowboy in. What is up, my friend? Another person I talked to here offline, a big Oklahoma City Thunder fan. So I will salute you and congratulate you. We were talking today, actually texting back and forth about this game, and we both kind of agreed that the Thunder needed to come out and make a statement, and I think we both kind of felt like they would, and so they did. So what's the comment here by Six Wheel Cowboy? Again, great handle here. I love
also, for the record, as a Spurs fan, I thought the same thing. I thought OKC was I thought they would have won the game 3 that they lost. I was surprised they lost that game. But anyhow, Six Wheel Cowboy says, that is Thunder basketball. Haters, stay hydrated. I'm not a hater, by the way.
Of course. No, neither. I think he's just talking about the myriad of haters that this Oklahoma City Thunder team has accumulated, which I honestly don't understand why people hate the team so much. I guess there's the implications of foul baiting, but really it would just be by SGA, and he's not even leading the league in free throws, and they're like middle of the pack as a team in free throw shooting. So I guess some of it could be, I do see this sometimes, that it looks like they're physically assaulting teams at times. And then when the other team tries to like get physical back, they get called for the fouls. That's the only thing. But other than that, like this team, like they're not dislikable really in any way. Like there aren't big like egos or hateable guys. Like SGA is a humble, down to earth superstar to me. Like I don't understand why the Thunder have accrued such hate, but they do. They are pretty much hated across the board when I go on to social media. But shout out to you and shout out to your Thunder, Six Wheel Cowboy. That was Thunder basketball. I know you wanted to see it, and they delivered for you tonight. We were talking. He mentioned he might go to the game, but he was afraid that if he went and if they got blown out, that it would be a very long, quiet drive home. So not sure. We'll chat offline. I'll see if you ended up making the sojourn out to the game. If you did, you saw a good one, actually. Burka's back in. What's up, my Serbian brother? What is up? Back in again tonight. Double dipping here in the sponsor area. What does this second one say, Gary?
Swipa said he would love to go with you to Serbia.
Now, I think is that like a well-known ex-contributor that follows the Denver Nuggets? Is he like a Denver sports enthusiast? And I guess I don't know if he's part of the actual media or not. Let me just check, because I do see his posts a lot. We might, I think, be following each other. No, I actually don't follow him, and he doesn't follow me, but I see him all the time on X because I guess we both kind of follow Nuggets things. So is this Swipe a Cam? Is that who you're referring to, Burka? Because yeah, this guy is prolific. He's YouTube Denver sports analyst for at Mile High Sports. And yeah, so he's he's got 36,000 followers on X. So if that is who, in fact, Burka is talking about, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to set that up. Maybe I will eventually have to make my long-awaited, much anticipated, and promised trip to Serbia. It is still on the books. I definitely want to get to Europe and tour around, and Serbia is at the top of my list of the places that I want to get to. So yeah, shout out, by the way, to Swipa. If potentially, I'm probably not even saying that right. Again, I just slaughter these handles, but I do like Swipa's content on X. I do see a lot of it, and I do enjoy and appreciate what he does there in covering the Nuggets on X. And look, we've got Amanda back in. Amanda Draws 8682. Again, shout out to you, Amanda. Thank you for being here, and thank you again for coming back in again and dropping us another super chat here. Thank you so much, Gary. What's the second one from Amanda say?
LeBron probably saw a video of yours. He checks media. I've told you that because he's such a narcissist. I know he looks stuff up on YouTube. He hates you. He has nightmares. Well, he has nightmares of your voice. I guarantee it.
That would be a humbling moment. LeBron said last night he was humbled when he saw the patch. I would be humbled if LeBron is hate watching my videos, or if like Rich Paul like gets on and like calls LeBron's like, yo, Bron, yo, King. Look, like this would be like the conversation with Rich and LeBron. Yo, King, Rich here. Yo, did you see what that bitch SKAP attack is dropping about you today? Like, I can't believe it. You got to get on and watch what this punk is dropping, is slandering your name right now. If those kinds of conversations are going on, that would be a humbling moment for me. I know I will have made it if LeBron James is hate watching SKAP attack videos or knows who SKAP attack is. So hopefully, Amanda, that would be pretty awesome if that were the case. Next thing we've got at Mad WF5WS. Not sure if I'm reading that properly or not, but at Mad, welcome in. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. And hopefully you're still on. I am pretty far behind. It's 12:39. You sent this at 11:56. So we're catching up. We're about a half an hour or 40 minutes out of these super chats. So hopefully all of you guys are still on here, because I'm very thankful for you guys, obviously for supporting, but I also want to get to all these comments, read them, and answer them all. So Gary, what does this one from Mad say?
Which finals run was more impressive, 2025 Pacers or 2023 Heat as the 8th seed?
That's a good question. I think I'm going to have to go with the Pacers, even though both teams were aided by injury to some degree. The 2023 Heat, I think, wouldn't have got through the first round if Giannis didn't hurt his back and miss like really 3 games. It was like 2.5 games, but realistically 3 games were affected by Giannis being out. They beat the 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis out. Now, Giannis did come back in at the end of that series and play 2 great games that they lost, but like he was physically still depreciated. He just came back because they were up against elimination, and him being out gave the Heat the confidence they needed in the early part of that series to find that insane rhythm that they were on throughout the entirety of the series. And of course, the Pacers, I think, look, they ran up against a couple injuries. The Knicks had injuries when they played. The Cavaliers had injuries when they played. But I still think, even with the injuries the Pacers were facing, like I was still kind of picking against the Pacers every round of the playoffs that year. Like I just did not think, like Gary gets a lot of hate here about people about him, not being the biggest Pacers enthusiast or supporter. But I was right there with him. I really was picking against the Pacers every step of the way, and they ended up taking the Thunder. Look, I think that's more of a commentary on the Thunder and their lack of focus in that series. But say what you will, like they took the Thunder 7, and they got into the NBA Finals and took the Thunder 7. Like I would say probably I would give the edge to the 2025 Pacers.
Definitely the Pacers, because the Heat, you never for a second thought they stood a chance against Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for a second there, for a moment in that game 4, the Pacers were up 2-1 in the series. And it wasn't until SGA took over in the middle of the 4th quarter and edged the OKC Thunder to a victory to tie the series 2-2. But it looked like Indiana was about to go up 3-1. So there was a moment of doubt there for now, not for me. I never doubted, because I guaranteed that the Thunder would win before the series started. But there was a moment where it was very murky. There was never, ever a question with the Heat and the Nuggets in 23.
Agreed. So we're Gary and I are aligned at Mad that we at Mad WF5WS. We are aligned. That great run by both, but I would say 2025 Pacers. Xavier is back in again. I've lost count at this point, Gary. For the 5th time, maybe Xavier's in tonight. Welcome back in yet again, Xavier. Thank you so much as always, Gary. What is this like 5th or 6th thing that Xavier has for us?
Start, bench, cut. 2020 AD, 2021 Giannis, 2023 Jokic.
Man, that's tough. I mean, AD was phenomenal in 2020. For those of you that don't remember, don't know, whatever, that was the bubble year. And AD was, I mean, I believe he finished 6th in league MVP that season, 2nd in defensive player of the year. And he was first team All-NBA and first team All-NBA defense. Still, as magnificent as AD was, he was a top 5 player in the NBA that year. I still would if I got a cut, if this is like a marry F kill type situation, I've got to kill / cut one of them. It's still, as great as AD was in 2020, it's still going to be AD. And as great as Giannis, I'm very high on Giannis. As anyone that knows me, knows my brand, knows my content, knows I'm very high on Giannis. But I am the highest on Nikola Jokic. I would have Giannis on the bench and Nikola Jokic as the starter. As great as Giannis is defensively, and as much criticism as Nikola Jokic gets, deserved or otherwise, for his defensive abilities or performances, I still think Nikola Jokic is the most brilliant offensive player maybe that I've ever seen, and that his level of floor rising on that end overall, it just trumps what Giannis does defensively, I think. And Giannis's numbers are fantastic. This guy is a walking like 29, 12, and 6 per game. So it's not like I'm saying Giannis is an offensive slouch. His numbers are fantastic. And really, from a scoring and rebounding standpoint, kind of an equal to Nikola Jokic. But I still think, though, the way Nikola Jokic gets his points, the scoring diversity that he has, and the ability to be the best playmaker maybe ever outside of like Magic and Stockton. Like, when you add all those things together, he is a much better full offensive player than Giannis. Like, Giannis gets the majority of his points on like fast breaks, dunks, slashing to the basket, getting fouls. Like, Nikola Jokic is basically unstoppable offensively, like on his own offensive merit. Like, he shoots 40% from 3. He can score. His post game is as good as anybody's in the league. His mid range is arguably the best. Like, and then his passing is it's just ridiculous. So I just think he's so much better offensively than Giannis. And that's not saying that Giannis isn't great offensively. It's just how highly I think of Jokic. So I would say Jokic start, Giannis bench, AD cut. But good question there, Xavier. And next in, we've got the Incorruptible is back. Yet again, the Incorruptible now is competing with Xavier, seeing how many super chats he can get me tonight. I appreciate, although I see Xavier has like 5 more that we have to get to. Xavier is just a nonstop super chat machine here. Incorruptible is also, though, been very generous tonight. Thank you so much. And what is this latest question or comment, Gary?
I'm still waiting for a making the case video on KG. He doesn't have a GOAT case, but perhaps a power forward or two-way player case. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked on here a lot. I will eventually get to a KG video. I love Kevin Garnett. I think the world of him. I think had he gotten 1 championship in Minnesota or tagged 2 on in the back end of his career, he would have really like a fringe, almost top 10 case, in my opinion. It's hard because, again, he didn't win in Minnesota. He went and joined 2 other great players, albeit they were all kind of on the backswing. They were all over 30. They were all 10 plus years in the league. But still, he went to what people suggest is a super team. I don't necessarily see them as that, but a very, very great team, and got his one and only title. The other thing that takes away from KG, in my opinion, he played in the era of like super forwards. Like 3 of the 4 best or 3 of the best power forwards ever played at that same time, right? Like, you got KG and Duncan. Some people say Duncan's a center. I think of him as a 5. Some people say he's a 4. I'm sorry, I think of him as a 4. Some people say he's a 5 more, whatever. He's designated primarily as a 4, at least for the front end of his career. You got Dirk Nowitzki as well running around at that time. So Nowitzki, who like I think is undervalued too, like he's the 6th or 7th all-time leading scorer in NBA history, who has one of the best single championship runs ever in that 2011 run. Like, all 3 of those guys were contemporaries playing basically at the same time as each other. Duncan, Garnett, and Dirk Nowitzki. So it's like they took away from each other to some degree in terms of like their all NBA designations. first and defensive designations, first team in general and defensive designations in terms of Duncan and Garnett. So it is difficult. I'd say as a two-way player, Garnett is as good as anybody. He's a league MVP. He's a champion. He is, again, tied with, I said it earlier, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Gary Payton, 9 All-NBA first-team defensive selections, tied most ever. So, yeah, KG, I think the world of KG. I think if I really sat down and mapped and charted out where I have him, he's definitely top 15 to me. I know I talk a lot about, it seems like I've mentioned more than 15 guys in my top 15 tonight, but I think Kevin Garnett would be in my top 15. I'm a big fan of Incorruptible, and I know I mentioned you are earlier. I know that you're a huge KG guy, and I will, you have my word, get to a KG video. Next in, we've got, wow, this is a long handle here. Darth Carnes, Dylan Brooks, Ara. That's quite a, and that is, I believe, Dylan Brooks in the avatar, and Darth Carnes. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you very much for joining us here. Obviously, thank you for supporting the channel. Gary, what is the question or comment here from Dylan Brooks, Ara?
Hello, I'm a new fan of basketball. I'm glad I was recommended to listen to your show. Salute.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words and for the support. I really do appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the sport of basketball. I love basketball. I've been avidly watching and hanging on the sport of basketball, particularly the NBA, for now 30 years. So I just like to talk junk about sports, and primarily basketball and football, but for purposes of this channel, primarily the NBA. So welcome in. If you like the NBA and you want to learn more about the history of it, you can go back and check. In season right now, like we are, I do mainly breaking, trending things going on in the NBA today, but I still do mix in some historical stuff during the league, active league year. But if you want to learn more about the history of the sport, you can go back and check in. I've got about 650 videos posted to this channel at this point, and some of them are just historical pieces about the vast past and history of the NBA. So go on at your leisure and check those out if you want to learn more. And thank you very much for contributing here. I do appreciate it. And next in, we've got JVol4046. Again, hopefully I'm saying that handle right. I never really know. And growing up with the last name Skapanak, I am used to people mispronouncing and misspeaking when they're trying to say my name. So hopefully JVol or JVAL 4046. Hopefully I'm getting that right. And thank you very much for your generous donation here for us. Gary, what's the question or comment?
It pains me to see my glorious King James. And by the way, shout out to the King. Guess what, Jay? He managed not to turn the ball over 8 times in the last fourth quarter, and they're actually going to win this game. And it was 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. Not bad for an old man. Finally didn't choke.
I'm looking at right now, the Lakers put up a $141 tonight. So JJ, who was calling after last night's game against the Kings, JJ called the Lakers one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA, and that he doesn't really know what to do at this point, but quote, I guess we just have to keep shooting. And so they did tonight, and they looked a lot better. They shot 58% tonight from the field and 56% from the three-point line. You said it, LeBron James, 31 points tonight, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. Luka Doncic, 27 points, 12 assists, and 5 rebounds. And Luka did not do much after halftime. Remember, he had 23 points at half, only 4 in the second half. But the Lakers, they cruised to the victory, so you didn't really have to do much, I guess. 141-116 final. And all the games are actually final tonight, except for Golden State Portland is underway. If anyone's interested in that, 84-68 now, nearing the end of the third. So Golden State looks like they're going to get that win. But please, sorry to interrupt, JVol. Sorry to interrupt your super chat here and your question. Is this seemingly a LeBron fan who is infiltrated the live stream here and also given us a very generous donation? Let's see. I think he said his King James. So is this a LeBron fan, Gary?
Well, believe it is, and that's why I gave a quick update to give props to the old man for not choking the game away tonight. So, Javal, thank you for your comment. It pains me to see my glorious King James be approaching the end of his days. Will you ever make a video appreciating his greatness in the league once he retires? Thankfully, Lenut will save the game. Now, I'm not sure what that means. Who is Lenut? And if he's a LeBron fan, why would he say Lenut will save the game? Who is Lenut?
There might be a little tongue-in-cheek going on here. I can't tell. There might be some sarcasm in this one, I think. I'm not sure if J-Ball truly is a LeBron fan. But just to address the question or comment, let me just say this. I think there are plenty of things to celebrate about LeBron James, his athleticism, his longevity. I said plenty, and I could only really think of two readily off the top of my head. Look,
Jupiter King says that Lenut is brawny.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Thankfully, Bronny would say, "Okay, that makes sense." Jupiter King.
Well, now I really think there's some sarcasm involved here, in this comment. But I'll say this, LeBron. Look, I think there are things to be that you can celebrate about LeBron. I will not be celebrating those things because, well, quite frankly, he celebrates himself enough, and his people celebrate him enough, and his Clutch Sports syndicate. And all of the little clutch worker bees they have working around in overdrive on social media and in the mainstream media. They do all of that stuff enough. There's enough propaganda out there about LeBron James that is overrating and overranking him that I think I've become I think I'm still a smaller voice and a smaller platform, but nonetheless, I'm one of the leading voices and one of the leading advocates out there against LeBron. So I can't possibly, me being one of the leading voices, trying to bring some kind of balance and reason into the evaluation of LeBron James. I certainly can't turn coat and go and start talking LeBron James up. I think when the day ultimately does come that he retires, I think, of course, some small part of me will be sad. I've been waiting for him to leave the game for years, but the guy is, he is enjoyable to pick fun at. I must admit, obviously you must know that because I make so many videos about it. It's not because for lack of my enjoyment in doing it. Like I like to pick through the minutia of it. I like to try to shoot down the narratives and kind of rip apart the overratings of LeBron James. And I think it was honestly more so back in his youth. Now at this point, I think it's more of just an annoyance at this point now, his legacy at this stage of his career, because he's so obviously impairing the Lakers and making them worse. And people are still trying to suggest that he's like a top 10 player. So, but it's not as extreme as it was before, where we were hearing that he was like the greatest player ever, that he was better than Michael Jordan. I think that was more my work in tearing those commentaries or those narratives down was more serious than what I'm doing today. Now I just enjoy kind of making fun of LeBron at this point. So yes, there is a small part of me that will miss LeBron when he leaves. I'm sure he'll still do insufferable things that I will be able to talk about in the aftermath of his career, just it won't be as prolific as when he's actually playing. But J-Ball, no, I will not be doing any real positive or glowing videos anytime soon on your king, if he truly is your king. But I get the sense there might be some sarcasm involved there. Xavier is back in again, and Xavier is just going to hit us a bunch here at the end, I believe. Yeah, so most of these are, and I've got Stefan is back in as well next. But let's get this Xavier, this like 8th or 9th Xavier question or comment in first. Gary, what's he say?
2K also puts 2006 age 26 Kobe as his all-time. What do you think, Jay? What do you think Kobe's like bet? I might say his 2001 year maybe is. Do you remember what remember what he did to my Spurs, who were the #1 seed?
Yeah, I get where you're going with, like,
he's more seasoned later in 2006 though.
Yeah, he was much more athletic because Kobe actually dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. He
Right.
hurt his knees a number of times. He had a bunch of knee surgeries and procedures. He was much more athletic in the first three-peat than he was in this in the second two when he went to three straight and won two. I think his overall, the polish overall of his game and his jump shot and like his ability to get to his spots and make his shots as like a straight scorer might have been better in his second run. But in the middle, though, when his team was absolute garbage and he was averaging 35 points per game, like 40 points for a whole month, 4 straight 50-point games, outscoring the Dallas Mavericks by himself through 3 quarters, like, and he was first team All-NBA defense while he was doing that. Those were his best years. Unfortunately, his organization sucked and they absolutely wasted and scrapped like 3 years of his absolute peak and his best years. So yeah, I do think that age 26 Kobe probably was the best Kobe in terms of his full court game and his abilities and what he was doing. Like the fact that the NBA that year was basically like a 96, 97 point per game average per game for the entire league year. And he averaged 35 points per game for that season was just absolutely nuts. I think he had like half of the 50-point games for the entire league that season. And again, first team All-NBA. So good question, Xavier and Gary, to expound upon that. I do think that probably was Kobe's the best of Kobe Bryant. As I mentioned, Stefan was going to be back in. He is for yet another super chat from him. Also, he sent us a number tonight as well. Thank you very much, my friend. I do appreciate it as always. And Gary, what does this latest one from him say?
This super is a gift to Pinky Bane, who says SGA is the closest we have to Kobe.
Well, Pinky Bane, shout out to you, I guess, for Stefan coming back in and contributing on your behalf, I guess. I don't think there's anything close to Kobe. Like, I just don't think, Kobe was the closest thing to Jordan. I think those are the 2 best players on my all-time list of the greatest players ever. I don't think SGA is there yet. But who knows? Like at the end of the day, like I ultimately, if you force me to pick a league champion right now, look, I think if the Houston Rockets ever get up to their potential, they can compete with the Thunder in a 7-game series. If the Spurs can stay healthy, they can compete with the Thunder in a 7-game series. And if the Nuggets ever get healthy, they can compete with the Thunder in a 7-game series. Those are 3 different teams of which the Thunder will likely have to play 2 of them to get into and win another NBA championship this season. So it's not a lock, but I think the favorite right now is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if they win the championship this year, look, SGA is going to get that MVP now with the games Jokic is going to miss. So SGA is going to lead. He's led the league in scoring twice. He'll be second this year to Luka, presumably, but he's led the league in scoring twice. He'll have 2 league MVPs and 2 titles by like the age of 28. So like he is on the trajectory that like he will be, like whatever you think again of the eye test, at the end of the day, like his accomplishments, if he ends up with 4 or 5 rings, 3 MVPs, 2-3 league scoring championships or scoring crowns, like he's going to be there. Like you will say like as a 2, like I know he's suggested as a point at times, but I think of him as a 2, whatever. He's a guard. Like you could say that, and he, like I talked about earlier, he does defend. So you could say he's there, like maybe at the end of the day, but I don't think he's there right now. I need to see more. And I don't think, if we are talking strictly eye test, SGA ain't Kobe. And it's not close to me. But that's just me, Pinky Bane and Stefan. Next in, we've got Xavier back in yet again. Xavier's trying to break the record, I think, for single super chats here on one live stream. I think there's one more after this. Gary, what's this most latest one say?
Kawhi did beat LeBron, Wade, Curry, and KD.
That's true. He did. He beat Kawhi with the San Antonio Spurs. Albeit he had a great team around him. An older Duncan. I think Duncan was like 37 or 38 at the time. Parker and Ginobili were still on that team. And you had young Kawhi Leonard, who was finals MVP that year when they beat I think it was the 2014 Miami Heat and ended that little mini dynasty or little mini reign by the Wade LeBron Heat. Then, of course, he did go on to play with the Toronto Raptors a few years later and win the NBA championship. But KD wasn't really on that team, though, was he, Xavier? I mean, KD ruptured his Achilles, I believe, in like game 3 of that series. So he didn't finish. And then also Klay Thompson tore his knee to oblivion. I think he like tore 2 or 3 ligaments in the middle of that series, or maybe game 6. Either way, like it was a shell of what that team was. Like it was just basically Steph Curry and Draymond Green. So, but he did win that championship and he was finals MVP. And it was a great run just to even get into the finals that year. Of course, he had that great 7-game series against the Sixers where he hit that game winner, the buzzer beater in game 7. I believe it was in overtime, actually, to eliminate Joel Embiid and the Sixers. So it was just a great run by Kawhi. And Kawhi, like I said, I think his peak is extraordinarily high. He just hasn't done it for enough of his career, in my estimation, to be put up from a career standpoint in like a top 15, 10 or 15 standpoint. But from an individual peak and like a healthy availability peak, we can absolutely talk top 10. Okay, next in, we got Jason back in. I'm sorry, AKA 6-Wheel Cowboy with a great handle. What is up? Friend. What's that?
Is this your friend? Is this your friend? And he's calling me out.
Yes.
Your friend is calling me out. Your friend is calling your moderator.
So should I read this one then? Should I read this to you?
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Okay. Gary, I hate to break it to you, but Jimmy quit.
Well, why did he quit? Because Jerry Jones wouldn't leave him alone. Like Jerry, we've seen the track record. We've seen how successful Jerry Jones has been since Jimmy left. Yeah, clearly Jerry Jones was the brains behind that dynasty.
Gary, let me just tell you this though. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Jason here is a big Cowboys fan, actually. So that's his squad. So he's like, I just want to say, you got like, he's not talking down upon the boys. He's just
I'm having fun with them. Yeah.
And he's got some memorabilia, some merch actually. He shared with me some pictures. I'm a big Randy Moss fan. I know we've talked some football tonight. And for those of you that don't know, I love Randy Moss. He's one of my like 5 favorite athletes ever, like maybe top 3. Big Moss fan. And he's got some cool signed Moss merch that he showed some pictures of. So, but yes, he is a Cowboys fan. We went back and forth on the, I'm starting to lose it here, Gary. 2 hours and 30 minutes in here.
Yeah.
At 1 a.m. The Parsons trade. It was escaping my my mind here. But yes, we went back and forth on the Micah Parsons deal earlier. He was behind it, and I was mocking it earlier in the year. I thought it was a mistake by Dallas, and I liked the move by Green Bay. Of course, Dallas didn't even make the playoffs, but Green Bay didn't win a game in the playoffs, though Parsons was banged. He physically unavailable.
Right.
They were pretty good in games that Parsons played. I believe they were 9-3-1 with him, and like 0-5 in games that he didn't finish in or was hurt in. So, the verdict is still out, I think, on that. But just to say that, yes, Jason is a Cowboy fan himself. Go, Gary.
Just to add real quick from one Cowboys fan to 6-Wheel here. I was actually not that opposed to that trade because we got another good defensive player in return. Not a generational one like Micah, but we got draft picks. The one thing Dallas does do well, they draft well. The problem is I don't think Jimmy Johnson should have given Dak, CD, or Micah a max contract because if we had given Micah a max contract if he had given Micah, if he had signed him, I would have been okay with it since he already disrupted everything with Dak and CD. But my point is, if you're going to draw the line and say, hey, I'm not going to overpay players, I like that mindset. So I'm in agreement with what he did to Micah. I just also, on top of it, think he should have also done that with Dak and with CD. And that way we draft so well, we can get guys. In 2016, 2017, we were the most balanced roster we weren't the best team, but we were the most balanced roster. We just needed to keep building. And then it wasn't long after the beginning of the end when they traded Amari Cooper. Amari made that offense run. As soon as he was gone, the offense took a hit. Dak is just not that good. He never should have got the first bloated contract. I hate he got the second one. He's good for like 20 to 25 million a year, and then we can add pieces around him. But when he's at 60, we can't build properly. I honestly, and a lot of people may think I'm dumb, Nick Foles was available for the cheap because he got injured in Jacksonville. He was on the free market for the league minimum. We could have let Dak walk and picked up Nick Foles for the league minimum, who's the only quarterback that really went pound for pound against Tom Brady in that Super Bowl, even though I think it was a fluke. The Patriots should have beat the Eagles at Super Bowl, but you still got to give Nick Foles credit. Nick Foles, to me, is one of the greatest leaders in sports. He's not the greatest talent, but he's a great leader. You'd have been perfect for Dallas at the league minimum. We could have built around that. But I wanted to just say that to my fellow Cowboy fan, Six Will there. I feel your pain, and I hope one of these days we can really put it together. Jerry's time is running out, and it's just a very sad thing.
Yeah, Jerry's time is definitely running out. I thought it would have been really cinematic if he went and just gave Bill Belichick like a 1-year deal after they fire him. Like, just say, hey, Bill, can you come in? You could chase your win record and maybe get me one more Super Bowl before I check out. Like, that would have been, to me, the move to make. But
that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, I think that would have been pretty compelling. Next thing, we've got Xavier is back in again. Xavier to God. Yes, for like the 10th time now, maybe. Xavier, thank you for your support and all of your contributions tonight. What is this? I think final question from him. Go ahead.
I think the NBA should get rid of the 3-second key violation, 5-second back to the basket, and allow man-to-man in zone defenses and bring back hand checking. I agree.
I like all of those suggestions. I would be good with any or all of them. Actually, I've been talking about some of those over the past couple years that I've been doing this, specifically bringing back in hand checking, and I really would like to incentivize more man-to-man play. That there's more zoning today than ever before in the NBA, and there's a lot of three-point shooting and so forth. Kind of to the point where it's become kind of an eyesore. We see games where there's 40, 50, 60, even maybe 3-point shots. And I think more head-to-head man-up play would kind of de-incentivize the three-pointer. We would see less three-point shooting and more individual head-to-head competition. So I'm with you, Xavier to God. Finally, great point by you. I would never push back on trying to bring in more defense. It's something that I would love to see in the NBA because we have gotten away from it to such a ridiculous degree in recent years. Next thing, we've got HLZ. I just don't know. HLZ Boro 738. Not sure how that's supposed to be said, but thank you very much. Again, I'm so sorry to all of you who I might be slaughtering these handles, but thank you very much for coming in and for contributing. Gary, what does this one say?
It looks like a soccer player, or maybe that's his son. Shout out to soccer. Love that as well. Sup, Scap? You and I noticed Braun on Denver should come off the bench and Watson should start. taller, and SGA will attack Braun in the playoffs.
Yeah, Brown is a good look. He is a good, really good defender. He's one of the better defenders the Denver Nuggets have. And look, he had a breakout year last year. There's no doubt about it. He was kind of like a six-man role, or one of the bench players, one of the important contributing bench players that came off the bench in 2023 when they won the championship. And then he's methodically worked his way into the starting lineup last season, and he broke out. He averaged like 15 points per game on extraordinarily high field goal percentage. He ran the floor great. He had a good rapport with Jokic. He was a very consistent and stellar performer in the postseason last year. And look, he just came out this season to start the year. He didn't look that great to start the year. Then he got hurt. He's never really been hurt in his entire career. And he's not right. Like he has torn ligaments in his ankle. He missed like 8 weeks, and he's still obviously not 100%. Point, to your point though, and I've said it on a couple of my videos, even when he is right, it doesn't matter. Peyton Watson's a starter now at this point. And there's no room for Christian Brown in the starting lineup at that point when and if they're all healthy. I still like Cam Johnson as a starter. You've obviously got Jokic, Gordon, and Murray. That's 4 guys. Peyton Watson's got to be in the starting lineup, which means Christian Brown, unfortunately, making $25 million a year next year. He's only making $4 million this year, but next year that extension kicks in. 5 years, $125 million, $25 million a year for a bench player is what the Denver Nuggets are looking at, unfortunately, now because of the emergence. Unfortunately / fortunately, thanks to the emergence of Peyton Watson, maybe it makes Christian Brown disposable, based on whenever he gets back on the floor and shows something that will reinvigorate his trade market. Because right now, I don't think his market is very high, unfortunately, for the Denver Nuggets. But yes, they have to find a way to keep, I said it earlier, and I'll continue to say it often, Peyton Watson has to be a Denver Nugget after this season. He has to be. JVol4046 is back in yet again. Welcome back in. Bro, I appreciate you, Gary. What's this latest one from him say?
Just wanted to say that LeBron is actually my favorite player, but for some reason, I find your content very enjoyable. I love the Jokic and Kobe love.
Well, J-Vol, thank you so much. I guess I do have people that actually like LeBron that do watch a lot of my videos and comment on my videos very frequently, and not necessarily just people that are hating on me or talking trash on me either. So, J-Vol, thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate you keeping an open mind, despite the fact that I do criticize your favorite player a lot, that you come on here, not just the videos, but even in here to the live stream now 2.5 hours in. Like 1 o'clock in the morning, and also that you're so kind and generous to provide us with these super chats. Shout out to you and thank you very much. Gary, speaking of generous and kind, we should have jumped ahead because this is quite a very generous donation that we have, and I actually am seeing it like twice, so I don't know if he accidentally posted this twice or wanted to post it twice. I think it says virtually the same thing. But we can obviously fact check that. It is from, again, I'm going to probably crush this handle, and I hate to do it because it is such a kind and generous donation here, and I am very thankful to you, my brother. But Emmanuel, I could get that part. Emmanuel Favor, I'm not, Gary, can you help me out here?
I asked him, he didn't respond. I don't think. I asked him how do we pronounce it, and I don't think he responded to me, but Favorigui, I don't know.
So I would read it Emmanuel Favor IGwell 1536. Either way, Emmanuel, thank you very much. This is very kind of you, and very, very generous.
Igwe. He says Igwe.
Igwe. Okay, awesome.
Igwe. Okay.
Emmanuel Favor Igwe. Thank you so much for your very, very kind support here of us. I know I really do appreciate it. Gary, can you read this question or comment?
Yeah, and I'm about to toss an alley-oop to you, Jay, here. So, would you do boxing as well? If you could, it would be funny to hear you say he got his.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Us.
And it would be funny to hear you say he got his
Yes.
handed to him. Also, more NBA and NFL, please. VJ needs more love. Maxey and him can do something big. Also, how do you feel about the Hawks trade? Also in playoffs.
Yeah, well, it's a lot there, Emmanuel. Let me first say, on the boxing front, I actually was a big boxing fan when I was younger. I hate to age myself. I know I look very youthful and good. I mean, you don't have to tell me that, guys. But I am actually like I'm up there to age myself. I liked boxing in the 90s. So I like the heavyweight circuit back in like the 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. When the heavyweight circuit went to shit, basically, I kind of lost interest in boxing. I also hated Floyd Mayweather Jr. I think he is probably the greatest defensive boxer I've ever seen. And I watched many of his fights, primarily hate watching and rooting against him and wanting him to lose. But he was just such a great defensive fighter that like he just was almost unbeatable in his style. And in recent years, I've unfortunately lost the path of boxing. I really do like boxing. I would like to get back into it. Anytime I see it on or find a fight, I think Netflix had some stuff on a couple weeks ago or months ago. I ended up watching like every card. I really, really do like fighting, but I never got into cage fighting. I never got into MMA or anything like that, or the UFC. So I've watched it here and there, but boxing really primarily is the only combat sport that I appreciate or enjoyed. So maybe it's time for me to get back into it, Emmanuel. Go ahead, Gary.
Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury is supposed to happen this year. That may be a good one to get you back in the swing of it.
Yeah. I would. That's something I would like to watch. I would probably pay for that fight as well. So yes, possibly I will find my way back, Emmanuel. And I could say he got his ass handed to him when I'm breaking that down. More NBA, NFL. I would love. I try to put out as much as I can. Sometimes there's not as much stuff to talk about. I think right now we're in the mix where there's plenty of things, NFL and NBA, to discuss. So I've been talking more NFL than I typically do. Obviously, we talked earlier about Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh in excess. I'm from Pittsburgh. I don't live there anymore, but I was born and raised there. I lived there for over half of my life. So I've been really dialed into the Tomlin situation this year, but for the last, basically his entire tenure of 19 years. And speaking of VJ Edgecombe, who you think needs more love, I lived in Philadelphia as well. I basically lived all over PA. I was born in Pittsburgh. I went to Penn State State College. So I lived in Central PA for several years. And then I lived in Philadelphia for several years as well. I'm in Florida now, but so yes, I had like a small season tickets package for the Sixers when I lived there. And I got like 13 or 14 games a year, and I would pick the games that I wanted to see. Always I would see my Lakers and Kobe Bryant whenever he came to town. So I went to see that. I saw a lot of Sixers games when I lived there. And I agree, VJ Edgecombe is a stud, and Tyrese Maxey, I think, honestly, is arguably right now the second best guard in the NBA this year, behind only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So I agree. Both the tandem of them, the fact that they are in the mix of the playoffs right now, not just in the playoffs, but they're like in striking distance for home court advantage, at least in the first round, is no small part a miracle in my estimation. And it speaks volumes to Tyrese Maxey in large part, but also to a lesser degree, the rook VJ Edgecombe, and just how damn good that backcourt is, because they got two part-timers on their squad right now in Joel Embiid and Paul George. These dudes literally play like half the game. And look, Embiid is like a shell of himself defensively, and Paul George just is having basically like the worst year of his career, at least in several years. So the fact that they are the Sixers above 500 and are a competitive nightly team in the NBA, like kudos to Maxine Edgecombe. And if you guys can ever shed the weight of the contracts of Embiid and Paul George, you're really going to be onto something with that young backcourt. And finally, the Hawks trade, Emmanuel. I think I did a video about it when it happened. Just go ahead, Gary.
He clarified the second 50 was supposed to be a different text. It was supposed to say, can you do a deep dive? That's what you're getting to now, into the Hawks and Falcons and how these franchises are hurting my soul. They keep making poor choices.
Let me jump actually to he did actually send yet another super chat. So Emmanuel, thank you so much for yet another super chat. You could have absolutely just sent that on the regular chat to Gary, but thank you so much for your incredibly generous donations here to us. Really appreciate it. But go ahead and read this one in full, Gary. This other super chat.
The second 50 was for a request if you can do a deep dive into the Hawks and Falcons and how these franchises are hurting my soul. They keep making poor choices. They need to be exposed.
You know what? I will do a video. I did one. Hopefully you found, I did do a little video on the Trae Young trade, but I can absolutely do a deep dive video on the Atlanta Hawks for you if you want, or maybe I'll just include I was going to say the Falcons separately. Maybe I could just do a whole city of Atlanta, but definitely I could do you one on the Hawks. But just ever so briefly here, I thought that Trae Young was somebody that they had to get rid of. Like he is one of the, I mean, he's really the poster child. I said it in the video that I made in the aftermath of the trade. He is the poster child, in my estimation, of this era of, impressive statistical outputs or box score stats that really don't contribute much in the way of winning. They're just not playing winning basketball. That's why I take exception when people say like Nikola Jokic is just stat padding. Well, he's not. Like his standard box stats are ludicrous, but like when you look at the advanced numbers and his impact on winning, that they're also ludicrous. But Trae Young, it ain't that way. Like this guy's standard numbers are insane. Roughly 25 points per game and 10 assists per game for his entire career. That is a banana stat line. 25 and 10 per game for a career. Like Magic Johnson's like 19 and 10. So the fact that you have this guy running around, or he's like 19, 11 and a half, something like that. But still, the fact that you have Trae Young averaging about double-digit assists per game and 25 points per game is crazy, but he's not a winner. Like, I get that their team hasn't done much to support him, but like just looking at this year, it was obvious to see that he was substantially hurting the Hawks when he came back from injury. He was allowing, when he was on the floor, the Hawks were allowing roughly 15 points per game more defensively per 100 possessions with him on the floor than off. The net add based on his offensive abilities and his defensive failings basically was minus 9.3. So Trae Young this year, in all the minutes that he played for the Hawks before they traded him, was contributing a negative 9 points per 100 possessions. So basically, they're just getting blown to pieces in all of the minutes that he played. So I think that that's addition by subtraction. If they got absolutely nothing at all, but they got rid of his contract, then that's a plus. Even though I know he only has one player option left next year. But they bring in CJ McCollum as part of that deal. And McCollum is having a decent year. McCollum is a multiple-time All-Star. He's averaging, I believe, 18 points per game this year. That's a nice fit, I think. And it also opens up a lot of salary cap potential at the trade deadline, which was rumored to become Anthony Davis. Of course, he hurt his hand, and who knows what's going on now with that. Word has it from Shams Charania of ESPN today, actually, that Davis is going to forego that surgery, though, try to let it rest and heal, and maybe he'll be back in 6 weeks. So potentially that trade is back on. So maybe Trae Young just became AD and McCollum. And if that is the case, I think that the Atlanta Hawks in a wide open Eastern Conference, they might have something in the playoffs, like win a series, maybe even two. Who knows? Like it's wide open. as for your Falcons, Gary, I'm sorry, Gary, go ahead.
He's got a retort if you want to go down. He's got, that's not true. Nickel and Porzingis and Johnson are doing their part.
Oh, in terms of them losing, you mean? In terms of them not playing winning basketball? Is that what he means? Because I actually am pretty impressed with the Hawks. I watched the game, which was like, I think the game after they traded away Trae Young. They played the Nuggets like that the next night after they traded Trae Young away. And I watched that whole game. It was like 110-87 was the final. And I was impressed with the Hawks. And I've been impressed with elements of that team. I did like the Nikhil acquisition that they made in the offseason. I thought they had one of the best summers in the entire NBA. Porzingis notwithstanding. But the Jalen Johnson emergence, like I think there's things to like in Atlanta. So I think they have the makings of potentially becoming a good defensive team. I think that was what they were trying to go for in the summer. And look, if they can get a guy like AD, maybe that would help that along better. They're a young team, but the East is wide open. Anything is possible in that conference. But Emmanuel, real quick here, I can offer you no solace in your Falcons. Unfortunately, they had one of the biggest pants crap moments in NFL history, I think, when they blew a 28-3 lead against the New England Patriots. I know Tom Brady played a factor in that. The GOAT, of course, he helped facilitate that choke. But nonetheless, there had to be like 12 things go wrong for Atlanta in the second, like in the last part of the third quarter and the fourth quarter for them to lose that game. I'll never forget a pass that Matt Ryan made to Julio Jones along the sideline. That was just a magnificent throw and catch. And they were in field goal range. They literally could have just knelt the ball 3 times, kicked a field goal, and won the game. They instead had like 2 or 3 negative plays in a row, got kicked, moved out of field goal range. And of course, as they say, the rest is history. And now the Falcons, they just look putrid. I don't know. You've got 2 quarterbacks now at this point, and when you got 2, you got none. Of course, Michael Penix, they wanted to go in the direction of him to begin the year after they gave Kirk Cousins like a $200 million contract. Penix looked all right. He looked serviceable, but the Falcons stunk. Kirk Cousins came in. He didn't look great. He didn't set the world on fire, but they actually won more games. I think they were 5-3 down the stretch with Kirk Cousins, and they actually looked like more of a viable team than with Penix. So who knows what they're doing? I think Kirk Cousins restructured the back end of that contract, but who knows what they're doing at the quarterback position. They have 2 absolute undeniable beasts at skill positions at the running back spot and the wide receiver. Detective Drake London, one of the best in the business of wide receiver. When he's actually on the field, he's missed some games. He had some concussion issues, I think, here and there. He hurt his shoulder this year too. But there was like a 6-7 game stretch there in the middle of the year where he looked like a top 5 wide receiver. And of course, Bijan Robinson, however this guy wants us to say his name, Bijan or Bijan, one of the best in the business there as well. So you've got the makings. And here's the key, Emmanuel. This is the one bit of good news I can give you on your Falcons. Their division is hot ass. Like the worst division in all of the NFL. The Carolina Panthers with like a net rating of -66 or whatever, not net rating, but a net differential. I think they were a total -67 or 66 total on the year. And they somehow slither into the playoffs at 8-9 because that division stinks. Now you would expect the Bucs to bounce back next year, but it is a highly winnable division. So you, at the very least, Emmanuel, you got that going for you. But I will, you got my word. I will make an in-depth dive into the Hawks here at some point in the next. I'll even write it down. I'm old school, I don't really take notes on my phone. I write them down. I'll do something on your Hawks, and at some point I could probably talk some Falcons for you as well. I am a big fantasy player, and I had Drake London on my fantasy team. Full disclosure, Gary, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, I was just saying go up 1, and then we'll go back down because we want to catch the one above this in between Emmanuel's. Yeah, right there.
HLZ Boro 738 again, back in again. Thank you so much for coming back in. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry again for destroying this handle of yours again, but go ahead and read this latest one, Gary, for us.
He just wanted to clarify to you, it's Vegas 96, Scap. Don't know why it showed.
Okay.
Borough.
So this is a regular then. This is a reg. Vegas 96. I recognize that handle. And I know that you are here pretty much every time I am here. So I do. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate you being with us and your contributions and the support. Obviously, much appreciated. It looks like let me just jump because Emmanuel was clarifying something. I meant in winning. Okay, so that's just to piggyback the fact that Nikhil, Porzingis, and Johnson are doing their part in winning. So yes, I like the Hawks squad, quite frankly. I was surprised when they started out poor this year. Actually, they started out well, and then they kind of went on. They flirting under 500. Like I said, I was pretty high on the Hawks coming in off of the heels of the summer. I think they had them and the Nuggets. I thought had like arguably the best summers in the sport. I was also high at the time on the KD acquisition, and I still am with Houston. So really, if I had to pick the three teams that won the summer, like it would have been Houston, Denver, and the Hawks. So I think the Hawks absolutely, maybe they can rebound here after this trade. They're right around 500. They got blown to pieces tonight by the Lakers. I actually thought on the second night of a back-to-back, I liked the Hawks tonight to win that game. So I am surprised that they not only lost, they got obliterated in that one. But maybe they can rebound here. And in the second part of the year, they can make a push and get up into hopefully outside of the play-in standing. Because even though the East is open and there's really no powerhouse in the East, you don't want to be in that 7 or 8 seed line. Like you don't want to get one of the top 2 seeds. So you will keep an eye on it, and I will do some kind of a Hawks deep dive here coming up sometime soon, Emmanuel. And again, thank you very much for all of your support here for us. I do appreciate it. And I believe, Gary, this could be, I think I didn't miss one, right? Like this is.
I think this is the last one we have.
This is the last Super Chat. And it's been a crazy night of Super Chats, I must say. 42 Super Chats. And really, realistically, we didn't have that many people on here tonight. We were right around like, I don't know, 150 people, I think, at one point at the beginning, but we're down to like 88 people now still here with us. But the Super Chats have just been pretty consistent and crazy. So guys, thank you so much for your support and kindness. It is 3 hours in now. Actually, Gary and I have been doing this. So this seems like a good one to kind of show our way off for the night. It's 1:30 in the a.m. on the East where Gary and I are. But let's do the Jupiter Night for one last Super Chat, Gary. What's the Jupiter Night have for us?
Zaza saw himself in SGA tonight. Dirty play.
Saw himself in SGA tonight. Are you insinuating, Jupiter Night, that SGA is in fact dirty? Is that the way you read that, Gary?
Yeah, that's what it seems to me. I wouldn't say SGA is dirty like Zaza. What Zaza did, he should have. I mean, people might think I'm extreme. I think he should have arrested. I'm not even kidding. That was BS. Kawhi Leonard has never been the same. That injury effed him up. So it's a good thing the owner stole money and gave him that extra to help make up. So Kawhi still got a fat paycheck in the future, but he very well could have had his career ended. I'm sorry, because it was intentional. It's one thing if you accidentally injure a guy like what Lawrence Taylor did to Joe Theismann. He sacked him and broke his leg, but his intent for the play wasn't to break his leg. It was to sack him. It was just an accident that he happened to break his leg. Zaza intentionally set out to mess up Kawhi's ankle. I'm not saying necessarily said, let me end Kawhi's career, but he said, let me end Kawhi's postseason run. That was criminal. That was criminal, literally, to me.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not running things.
I mean, we have seen it before. I mean, Jalen Rose slid intentionally under Kobe Bryant in the NBA Finals in 2000. He admitted it in recent years. Jalen Rose did that. He intentionally slid under Kobe to try to hurt him, and he did. Like Kobe, as tough as they come, missed a whole game in that final series before he came back. So. And we've seen that stuff in the past. I don't think SGA is a dirty player.
I don't think so.
I think Oklahoma City Thunder as a whole are a very physical team, and they play overtly a physical style of defense, which does border on like fouling and stuff, and illegal play that they sometimes get called on and sometimes don't. But I don't think by his nature that SGA is a dirty player that is intentionally going out there to hurt people, Jupiter Knight. But I get that a lot of people do dislike those Oklahoma City Thunder, as we talked about earlier. I'm not quite sure exactly why that is, but I know that the hate is real, and I know that it is out there. Hopefully they don't win this year, though. I am rooting. Obviously, I will not hide it. I will not make apologies for it. I am rooting for the Denver Nuggets just because I think Nikola Jokic is such a great historical player that he's got to get another ring. He's just got to. He deserves another title to get him into the mix and to get him talked about appropriately, because if he doesn't get another ring, he's going to get shafted on his all-time rankings. So that's why I will make no qualms, or I will not be apologetic for it. I am rooting for the Nuggets as I do every year, because I want Nikola Jokic to be remembered throughout history accordingly and as he is deserved to be as a top 10 player. And it's not going to happen if he doesn't get to at least a second ring. So hopefully the Thunder do not win this year, but I certainly don't hate the Oklahoma City Thunder. Guys, it was an exhilarating night, obviously a long night, 3 hours now. And again, very, very thankful for you guys and all of your contributions tonight in terms of comments and your generous donations as well. I can't thank you enough. I love doing this. We were just on talking about NFL stuff on a live stream, Gary and I alluded to the fact that I want to do at least one like scheduled live a week, and I would prefer to do more. So hopefully we're matriculating in that direction of doing this more often and getting on here more often with all of you guys. So many thanks to all of you guys who came out, and for all of you that are still on now, 3 hours now into this. But we are going to sign off. I am getting pretty tired. I don't know about Gary, but I've been up for a while. My best pal in the whole world, Luna, my Shih Tzu, she just runs me ragged. She runs a tight ship. She's up early in the mornings to walk. She needs like 2.5 to 3 hours of walk time total a day. So yeah, I need to get to rest. I need to get to bed and rest up because she will be waking me up bright and early tomorrow morning. But guys, fun night talking with you guys. Gary, thank you as always for your help and contribution on here. If you are not subscribed, guys, I'm sure you all are, but you know what I'm going to say. Please make sure that you do subscribe at this time. We finally broke over 90,000. So under 10,000 subscribers away from the big 100,000 that I've been chasing for a while now. So thank you guys for getting me to this point. If you're not subscribed and you're on here now, please do so. And if you're on here and subscribed but not notifications, do not have notifications turned on, go ahead and turn those notifications on, because like I said, I come on live at random times. I post videos at random times. That is the best way to make sure that you don't miss anything that I put out, guys. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more. Until next time, guys, have a great night.